Hello guys, how are you all? Welcome back to my channel. So, today we are gonna see, what if Kurama, feeling Naruto's loneliness, decided to genuinely nurture him like a parent, making Naruto both mentally and physically stronger at a young age? Subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and also check the description. So let's begin the story. Konoha glittered in the fading sunlight, the village streets pulsing with the vibrant energy of the summer festival. Paper lanterns swayed in the gentle evening breeze, casting dancing shadows across wooden storefronts decorated with colorful streamers. The air buzzed with laughter and conversation, thick with the mingling scents of grilled squid, sweet dango, and candied fruits. Children darted between adults' legs, their faces sticky with sweets, their excited squeals punctuating the festive atmosphere. But not all children. 5-year-old Naruto Uzumaki pressed his small face against the cool glass of a shop window, his bright blue eyes reflecting the kaleidoscope of treats displayed inside. His stomach growled, a hollow reminder that breakfast had been his last meal, a cup of instant ramen hastily prepared before the caretaker who occasionally checked on him had rushed off, muttering about being late. "Can I have one of those?" Naruto asked, pointing at a row of caramel apples, his high-pitched voice cracking with hope as the shopkeeper turned. The woman's smile vanished like morning mist under the summer sun. Her eyes, warm and crinkled at the corners for the previous customer, hardened to flints of ice. "We're closed," she snapped, though 3 other children and their parents crowded the counter. "But, closed to you?" She jerked the curtain across the open window, cutting off his protest and the tantalizingly sweet smell of caramel in one swift motion. Naruto's small shoulders slumped, but he forced a grin that didn't reach his eyes. "Your stupid apples probably taste like dirt anyway," he shouted, his voice carrying over the ambient chatter. Heads turned. Eyes narrowed. Conversations halted mid-sentence. "That boy again. Someone should teach him some manners. Demon brat." The last whisper, barely audible, cut deeper than the others. Naruto didn't understand why they called him that, but he'd heard it often enough to know it wasn't good. He spun away from the shop, sandaled feet slapping against the dirt street as he ran, pretending the burning in his eyes came from the wind. Weaving through the festival goers, he noticed how they moved, subtle shifts of bodies creating a bubble of space around him, as if he carried some invisible disease they feared catching. Parents pulled their children closer as he passed. Elderly villagers glared from beneath heavy brows. A group of teenage boys snickered, one of them sticking out a foot that Naruto barely avoided. "Why don't you go home, freak?" one called after him. "Nobody wants you here." The words hit Naruto's back like physical blows, but he kept running, his lungs burning with effort and something heavier a weight that had settled in his chest long before he had words to name it. Loneliness. Inside his cramped apartment, Naruto slammed the door shut and slid down against it, his small chest heaving. The silence pressed in around him, broken only by the distant sounds of the festival and his ragged breathing. The darkness was complete. He hadn't turned on the lights. He didn't need to see the empty cups of instant ramen stacked on the counter, or the unmade bed, or the single chair at his wobbly table. "Stupid festival," he muttered, scrubbing at his eyes with small fists. "Stupid village. Stupid people." The tears came anyway, hot and unstoppable. They tracked clean paths down his dirt-smudged cheeks, dripping onto his worn orange t-shirt. His body shook with silent sobs as he hugged his knees to his chest, making himself as small as possible, as if he could disappear completely if he tried hard enough. "Why?" he whispered to the empty apartment. "Why does everyone hate me?" No answer came from the darkened corners. No gentle hand ruffled his spiky blonde hair. No voice reassured him that everything would be okay. But deep within him, something stirred, something ancient and powerful, something that had watched this small human vessel from the moment of its first breath. Behind the iron bars of his cage, Kurama, the 9-tailed fox, floated in the murky waters of Naruto's subconscious. The vast chamber echoed with the child's sobs, rippling across the dark water like stones thrown into a pond. Each tear sent waves of anguish washing against the demon fox's massive form. Kurama growled, a sound that would have shaken mountains in the physical world. These human emotions were annoying, distracting him from his eternal rage, from his plotting for eventual freedom. He had endured imprisonment for centuries, passed from one jailer to another like a weapon too dangerous to be left unattended. This child was merely the latest in a long line of human prisons, and yet, something about this vessel was different. The emotional landscape of Naruto's mind was a stark, lonely place, a desert of isolation that resonated with Kurama's own millennia of solitary existence. The fox had been imprisoned, yes, but Naruto lived in a prison of his own, walls built of fear and ignorance by the very village that should have protected him. Pathetic, Kurama rumbled, his crimson eyes narrowing as another wave of the child's misery crashed against his cage. Can't even handle a few mean humans. But memory stirred within the ancient being, the memory of his own creation, of a time before hatred had consumed him. Of being torn from the Ten-Tails, bewildered and alone. Of the Sage of Six Paths, who had looked upon him not with fear but with kindness. A flicker of something unbidden stirred in the core of his chakra, not quite sympathy, but perhaps recognition. This child knew nothing of why he was hated, carried a burden he didn't choose, suffered for crimes he never committed. Just like Kurama himself, the fox's massive tails lashed against the water, sending ripples through Naruto's subconscious. For centuries, Kurama had raged against his imprisonment, pouring his hatred into each vessel, trying to corrupt and control them. But this small, unwanted child had already been hurt enough by forces beyond his control. In that moment, something shifted within the Nine-Tails, a tectonic movement of intention. If humans would not nurture this child, perhaps Kurama could. Not out of kindness, the fox told himself. Out of practicality. A stronger vessel meant a stronger Kurama. A more mentally stable Jinchuriki meant more leverage for eventual freedom. It wasn't compassion that moved him, it couldn't be. He was hatred incarnate, chakra given form and fury. And yet, as another sob racked Naruto's small frame, Kurama made a decision that would alter the course of both their existences. He reached out, stretching his consciousness toward the surface of Naruto's mind. Naruto's sobs had quieted to hiccups when he felt a strange warmth spreading through his body, starting in his stomach and flowing outward. The sensation wasn't painful, but it wasn't normal either. It felt like standing too close to a bonfire, the heat intense but not burning. Boy, the voice thundered through his head, deep and ancient, resonating in his bones. Naruto leapt to his feet, spinning in a frantic circle, searching the darkened apartment. Who's there? He stammered, backing against the wall, eyes wide. Is someone there? Inside you, the voice rumbled, quieter now but no less powerful. I've been here since the day you were born. Naruto's small hands pressed against his stomach, where a seal he didn't know existed pulsed with invisible energy. Inside me? He whispered. Are you why everyone hates me? A pause hung in the air, heavy with unspoken truths. Yes, the single word hit Naruto like a physical blow. He slid back down to the floor, his back against the wall, fresh tears springing to his eyes. What are you? Why are you in me? What did I do wrong? You did nothing wrong, the voice growled, and Naruto was startled by the flash of anger. It contained anger that, for once, didn't seem directed at him. Humans fear what they don't understand. They fear power they cannot control. Are you going to hurt me? Naruto asked, his voice small. A sound like distant thunder rolled through his mind, Kurama's equivalent of a scoff. If I wanted to hurt you, Kit, I would have done so long ago. The answer wasn't exactly reassuring, but something about the nickname Kit made Naruto's racing heart slow slightly. What are you, then? A ghost? A monster? I am Kurama, the nine-tailed fox, the voice announced, a hint of ancient pride coloring the words. I am living chakra, older than your village, older than the shinobi system itself. Naruto's eyes widened. Even at 5, he knew the story, the demon fox that had attacked the village on the day he was born, that had killed many shinobi including the 4th Hokage. The monster from the bedtime stories that adults used to frighten children into behaving. You're the demon fox? The one that his voice caught. The one they say destroyed part of the village? The very same. No denial, no excuse. And you, Naruto Uzumaki, are my Jinchuriki, my living prison. Fresh tears spilled down Naruto's cheeks. So they hate me because you're inside me? That's why everyone looks at me like I'm garbage. Another rumble, this one tinged with something that might have been regret. They fear what they don't understand. They see you and they see me. They are foolish. Naruto drew his knees up to his chest again, making himself as small as possible. Then you must hate me too, he whispered. Because I'm your prison. Silence stretched between them, so long that Naruto wondered if Kurama had retreated back into whatever depths he came from. Then, no, the word hung in the air, simple yet earth-shattering. I have hated many humans over the centuries. I have hated my previous jailers. But you a pause, as if the ancient being was considering his words carefully. You are a child who suffers as I have suffered. Feared without reason. Isolated without crime. Naruto's breath caught in his throat. Never before had anyone acknowledged his pain, let alone suggested they understood it. I have watched you, Naruto Uzumaki. I have felt your loneliness. It echoes my own. Really? Naruto's voice was barely audible. Really? A shift in tone, something almost gentle entering the thunderous voice. And I have decided that this arrangement need not be unpleasant for either of us. Hope dangerous, fragile hope flickered in Naruto's chest. What do you mean? Those humans out there ***, a spike of disgust colored the words. They will not teach you. They will not nurture you. They will continue to fear and shun you. Naruto flinched at the harsh truth. But I can teach you. I can help you grow strong enough that their hatred cannot touch you. You would help me? Naruto's voice cracked with disbelief. Why? A low chuckle reverberated through his mind. Let's call it mutual benefit. A stronger you means a more comfortable existence for me. Naruto's small brow furrowed as he processed this. But you're the nine-tailed fox. You're supposed to be evil. I am what centuries of human hatred has made me, Kurama responded, his voice suddenly weary. But before that I was something else. Something more. Outside, the festival continued without him, laughter and music floating through his window on the summer breeze. Inside, Naruto sat alone in his darkened apartment, yet suddenly, not alone at all. Will you? Naruto swallowed hard, afraid to voice the question that mattered most. Will you stay? With me? The answer came not in words but in a feeling of warm, steady presence settling around him like a protective cloak, solid and real in a way nothing else in his young life had ever been. Listen well, Naruto Uzumaki, Kurama rumbled, his voice a solemn promise in the darkness. From this day forward, you will never be alone again. In the small, shabby apartment, a 5-year-old boy with whisker marks on his cheeks and an ancient fox sealed in his belly fell asleep with the ghost of a smile on his tear-stained face, the first real smile in longer than he could remember. And deep within him, Kurama, the nine-tailed fox, settled into his new role, not just prisoner, but protector. Not just demon but mentor. Not just a monster, but something dangerously close to family. Chapter 2, First Lessons. Sunrise painted Konoha in washes of gold and amber, light spilling through the single window of Naruto's apartment. Dust motes danced in the slanting beams, swirling as the boy tossed in his sleep, whiskered face scrunched in concentration. The events of the previous night crashed through his dreams, a voice like thunder, crimson eyes gleaming in darkness, promises whispered in the shadows. Naruto bolted upright, sheets tangled around his small legs, heart hammering against his ribs. Was it real? He whispered to the empty room, voice crackling with hope and terror in equal measure. Of course it was real, Kit, rumbled Kurama's voice, sending vibrations through Naruto's chest. Did you think you dreamed me up? Naruto yelped, tumbling from the bed in a heap of limbs and blankets. He scrambled to his feet, wild-eyed, spinning in frantic circles. You're still here. His voice squeaked on the last word, torn between excitement and lingering fear. I told you I would be, Kurama replied, a note of amusement coloring his thunderous voice. You're stuck with me until the day you die. Naruto froze mid-spin. Until I die. His small shoulders slumped. But that means you're stuck with me too. Forever. A sound like shifting mountains echoed through his mind, Kurama's equivalent of a sigh. That is how this arrangement works, yes, and you're okay with that? Naruto's question came out small, vulnerable. I have decided to make the best of our situation, Kurama answered carefully. Whether I'm okay with it is irrelevant. Your survival is my survival. Your strength is my strength. Naruto's stomach growled, interrupting the moment. He rubbed it sheepishly. Sorry. Breakfast time. This, Kurama growled as Naruto reached for a cup of instant ramen, is our first lesson. Huh? What's wrong with ramen? There is more to nutrition than salt and noodles, Kit. Your body is my home. I won't have it turning to mush. Naruto blinked, cup halfway to the kettle. But I like ramen, and you can still have it. Occasionally. But if you want to grow strong ***, Kurama paused meaningfully. I do. Naruto declared, chest puffing out. I want to be the strongest ninja ever. Believe it. Then put that down and listen. For perhaps the first time in his young life, Naruto did exactly as he was told. The marketplace buzzed with morning activity, vendors shouting prices, customers haggling, children darting between stalls. Naruto moved through the crowd like a ghost, hood pulled low over his sunshine-bright hair. Following Kurama's instructions, he kept to the shadows, his usual boisterous energy contained in a way that felt strange but not entirely unpleasant. The green vegetables, Kurama directed, guiding Naruto's gaze to a stall overflowing with produce and protein. Eggs. Fish if you can afford it, but no arguments. Trust me, trust. The word hung between them, fragile and new. Naruto swallowed hard, squared his shoulders, and approached the vendor, a wrinkled old woman whose eyes narrowed at his approach. What do you want? She snapped, fingers tightening around her money box. Naruto opened his mouth to snap back his usual defense mechanism when Kurama's voice rumbled through him. Calm. Stay calm. Lower your gaze. Speak softly. Fighting against years of instinct, Naruto dropped his eyes to the ground. Just some vegetables, please, he said, voice barely audible above the market noise. And eggs, if you have them. The woman's scowl deepened, but something in Naruto's uncharacteristic demeanor gave her pause. She wordlessly bagged a handful of spinach, 2 tomatoes, a cucumber, and a small carton of eggs, snatching the money from Naruto's outstretched hand without touching his fingers. Now bow slightly. Say thank you. Walk away slowly. Naruto did as instructed, feeling strangely lightheaded as he retreated with his purchases. She didn't yell at me, he whispered once he was safely away from the stall. She actually gave me food. The first lesson, Kit, control. Kurama's voice thrummed with something like pride. Control your reactions, control your emotions, control how others perceive you. This is the beginning of power. It feels weird, Naruto admitted, clutching his groceries to his chest. It will feel less weird with practice. Now, head to the training grounds. The quiet one near the east wall. Naruto's eyebrows shot up. Training grounds? Am I gonna learn awesome jutsu? Fire breathing? Super strength? Kurama's rumbling laughter filled his mind. Patience, Kit. We start with the basics. The east training ground was deserted, morning sunlight filtering through ancient trees to dapple the mossy earth. Naruto dropped cross-legged onto a sun-warmed rock, face screwed up with concentration. Like this? He asked for the third time, hands folded awkwardly in his lap. Relax your shoulders, Kurama instructed. Close your eyes. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Slowly. Deeply. This is boring, Naruto whined, cracking one eye open. When do I get to do the cool stuff? You don't get to do the cool stuff until you master the boring stuff, Kurama growled. Meditation is the foundation of chakra control. Now close your eyes and focus. Naruto sighed dramatically but complied, squeezing his eyes shut, small chest rising and falling in exaggerated motions. Now look inward. Feel the energy flowing through your body. Follow it to its source. I don't feel anything except my butt going numb, Naruto muttered. Because you're not trying, Kurama rumbled. Really try. For once in your life, really try. Something in the fox's tone, not anger, but disappointment, struck a chord in Naruto. His fidgeting stilled. His breathing slowed naturally. His brow smoothed as he turned his attention inward, searching for the energy Kurama described. At first, there was nothing. Then, like a candle flame catching in darkness, he felt it, a warmth that had nothing to do with the sun on his skin, a current running through his veins that wasn't blood. It pulsed in time with his heartbeat, bright blue in his mind's eye. I feel it. He gasped, eyes flying open. I really feel it. That, Kurama said with satisfaction, is your chakra. The energy that flows through all living things, but especially strong in you. It's so warm, Naruto marveled, pressing a hand to his chest. And blue. Is it supposed to be blue? For most humans, yes. Mine is red. Can I see yours too? A pause. Not yet. But someday. Now, back to your meditation. This time, try to direct the flow. Naruto nodded eagerly, eyes closing once more, small face solemn with determination. For the next hour, he sat in near-perfect stillness, a miracle for a child who normally couldn't stay in one place for more than 5 minutes. Hidden in the shadows of the forest, watching with eyes that missed nothing, the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, stroked his beard in troubled contemplation. Look who it is! The village freak. 3 boys blocked Naruto's path as he headed home from the training grounds, the largest stepping forward with a sneer twisting his face. Dirt smudged his cheeks, and his knuckles bore the scars of previous fights. Where you going, demon brat? Don't ignore us. The second boy shoved Naruto's shoulder, sending the smaller child stumbling. Familiar heat surged through Naruto's veins, anger, hot and blinding, rising like bile in his throat. His hands curled into fists at his sides, nails biting into palms. Breathe, Kurama's voice cut through the haze of rage. Remember your training. What training? Naruto thought back bitterly. I've only had 1 day. Then this is your first field test. Center yourself. Feel your chakra. Let the anger flow through you, but don't let it control you. The third boy lunged forward, grabbing for Naruto's grocery bag. What V you got there, freak? Garbage for dinner? Naruto inhaled deeply, focusing on the blue energy humming beneath his skin. Time seemed to slow around him. He sidestepped the grabbing hands with unusual grace, pivoting away from the trio. I don't want trouble, he said quietly, his voice steadier than he felt. The bullies exchanged startled glances. This wasn't the reaction they expected. No shouting, no wild swings, no tears or taunts or desperate attempts to prove himself. What's wrong with you? The leader demanded, confusion bleeding into his anger. Too scared to fight back? Feel the shift in energy, Kurama murmured. They're off balance. Uncertain. Now walk away with dignity. I'm not scared, Naruto replied, meeting the older boy's gaze with newfound steadiness. I just have better things to do. He turned his back on them, a calculated risk, and walked away, spine straight, steps measured. Behind him, he heard confused muttering, a half-hearted threat, but no footsteps followed. They didn't chase me, Naruto breathed once he was safely around the corner. They always chase me. You changed the dynamic, Kurama explained, a hint of pride coloring his rumbling voice. You didn't give them the reaction they wanted. Without it, they had no script to follow. Is that another part of control? Indeed, Kit. You're learning faster than I expected. Warmth flooded Naruto's chest, a feeling so unfamiliar it took him a moment to recognize it as pride. Not the brash, defensive pride he projected to mask his insecurities, but something deeper, more solid. For the first time in his life, he'd done something right. In the Hokage Tower, Hiruzen Sarutobi gazed out at the village spread below, pipes sending lazy curls of smoke toward the ceiling. Sunset painted the sky in streaks of crimson and gold, casting long shadows across Konoha's rooftops. You're certain of what you saw? He asked, not turning as a masked ANBU operative knelt behind him. Yes, Lord Hokage. The Uzumaki boy spent 3 hours in meditation at the eastern training ground. His chakra signatures showed unusual fluctuations, regular patterns that suggested deliberate manipulation. Hiruzen frowned, tapping his pipe against his palm. And the incident with the Takumi boys? He avoided confrontation. Showed remarkable restraint for a child his age, especially given his typical behavior patterns. I see. The old man's eyes narrowed, focusing on the distant apartment building where Naruto lived alone. Increased surveillance. Subtle, continuous. I want daily reports on any unusual behavior. Do you believe the seal is weakening, Lord Hokage? The ANBU's voice remained professionally neutral, but tension threaded through the question. Hiruzen sighed, suddenly looking every one of his 70 years. I don't know. Which is precisely why we must watch more closely. And if there are signs of the Nine-Tails influence? The Hokage's gaze hardened, his hand tightening around his pipe. Then we will do what is necessary to protect the village. But let us hope it doesn't come to that. Naruto is special. Sir, nothing. Hiruzen waved a dismissive hand. You have your orders. The ANBU vanished in a whisper of displaced air, leaving the third Hokage alone with his troubled thoughts, and the weight of secrets decades in the keeping. Stars spilled across the night sky like scattered diamonds, their light filtering through Naruto's window as he sprawled on his bed, freshly showered, stomach full of a meal that for once hadn't come from a cup. "I still can't believe they didn't chase me," he said for the third time, grinning at the ceiling. "Did you see their faces? They looked so confused." "I saw through your eyes, yes," Kurama replied, amusement rumbling beneath his words. "You did well for a first attempt. But there is much more to learn." "Like what?" Naruto rolled onto his stomach, propping his chin on his hands, eyes shining with eagerness. "Super secret jutsu? Awesome fighting moves? All in good time. For now, we focus on the foundations: meditation, chakra control, proper nutrition, and knowledge." Naruto groaned, flopping face first into his pillow. "Knowledge sounds like school. I hate school. The teachers ignore me or say I'm stupid." Anger flashed through their shared mental space, hot and sudden, making Naruto gasp. "You are not stupid," Kurama growled, the force of his emotion causing the air in the room to shimmer. "Untaught, yes. Untrained, certainly. But not stupid." Naruto blinked, stunned by the vehemence in the fox's voice. "You really think so?" "I know so. I've lived inside countless humans over the centuries. I know potential when I see it." "Then why can't I do anything right at the academy? Why can't I make clones or transform properly or—" "Because no one has taught you properly," Kurama interrupted. "They provide instruction suited for normal chakra reserves. You have more chakra at 5 years old than most adult shinobi." "I do?" Naruto sat up straight, eyes wide. "Of course. You're in Uzumaki, for one thing a clan known for their exceptional life force and chakra. Add my presence, and you have energy most humans can't even comprehend, let alone control." "I'm from a clan?" Naruto's voice was barely a whisper, his small face frozen in shock. "I have a family?" Kurama cursed himself silently. He'd spoken without thinking, a rare error for a being as ancient as himself. "Had," he corrected gently. "The Uzumaki clan was scattered long ago." "Oh." The hope in Naruto's eyes dimmed, but didn't extinguish completely. "But still, I came from somewhere. I belonged somewhere." "You did. And you will again, if you're willing to work for it. To train. To learn." "I am," Naruto declared, thumping a fist against his chest. "I'll work harder than anyone. Just you watch." "I believe you will," Kurama said, surprising himself with his sincerity. "Now, would you like to hear a story before sleep?" Naruto froze, eyes widening. "A story? Like parents tell kids?" Something twisted in Kurama's ancient chakra, an emotion he refused to name. "Yes. Like that." "Yes, please," Naruto whispered, sliding back under his covers, eyes already drooping despite his excitement. "Very well. In the time before hidden villages, before the shinobi system as you know it, there lived a great sage with eyes that could see the truth of all things ****. Kurama's voice, modulated to a soothing rumble, filled Naruto's mind as the boy curled on his side, blanket clutched to his chest. The story wove through his consciousness tales of the Sage of Six Paths, of the creation of ninjutsu, of a world both familiar and fantastically different from the one he knew. He fought to stay awake, desperate not to miss a word, but his small body surrendered to exhaustion nonetheless. His breathing deepened, face relaxing in sleep, one hand curled beneath his cheek. Within their shared mental landscape, Kurama observed the sleeping child vulnerable, trusting, his chakra pulsing with steady, peaceful rhythms. For a moment, the fox allowed himself to feel something dangerously close to tenderness. "Sleep well, kid," he murmured, wrapping his consciousness protectively around Naruto's dreams. "Tomorrow, we continue your training." In his sleep, Naruto smiled a genuine smile, unguarded and peaceful. For the first time since infancy, the boy slept through the night without a single nightmare, wrapped in the watchful protection of the very demon the village feared. Inside his seal, Kurama settled into his vigil, 9 tails curled around his massive form, crimson eyes gleaming in the darkness. He had existed for centuries, witnessed the rise and fall of nations, been worshipped as a god and reviled as a monster. Yet somehow, the simple trust of one small, lonely child felt more significant than all of it. Chapter 3, Growing Bonds. The dawn mist clung to Konoha like a lover's embrace, painting the village in watercolor grays and silvers. Somewhere in the distance, a rooster crowed once, twice, 3 times, heralding the new day. Most villagers slumbered on, warm in their beds, oblivious to the small figure darting across rooftops with surprising agility. Naruto Uzumaki, now 7 years old, leaner and taller than he'd been just 2 years before, moved like a shadow through the half-light. His sandaled feet barely made a sound as he leapt the gap between buildings, his breathing controlled, his trajectory precise. Gone was the clumsy, attention-seeking child who'd once stumbled through the village shouting for recognition. In his place was something unexpected, a boy with purpose. Mind your landing, Kurama's voice rumbled through his consciousness. Wait on your toes, absorb the impact through your knees. Feel the chakra flow. I've got it, Naruto whispered back, a grin splitting his face as he executed a perfect flip off a water tower, chakra briefly pulsing through his feet to cushion his landing on a tiled roof below. Did you see that? Smooth as butter. Acceptable, Kurama conceded, though Naruto could feel the fox's pride rippling through their connection. But don't get cocky. Cockiness leads to mistakes. Naruto rolled his eyes but couldn't stop smiling. Over the past 2 years, he'd grown accustomed to Kurama's gruff praise, the way the ancient demon would acknowledge his progress while immediately pushing him toward the next challenge. It was nothing like the empty compliments adults sometimes gave children. It was honest, earned, and therefore infinitely more valuable. The boy slipped into the dense forest at Konoha's edge, where the shadows ran deeper and the trees grew thick enough to block prying eyes. This had become their private training ground, far enough from the regular training fields to avoid notice, but close enough that Naruto could still return to the village quickly if needed. The clearing waited for him just as they'd left it the day before. Kunai targets carved into the ancient trees, a small stream gurgling nearby, providing both drinking water and an opportunity to practice water walking techniques. Naruto dropped his small pack on a flat stone and stretched, muscles already warming for the morning's work. What's today's lesson? He asked, eager to begin. Chakra chains. Naruto stumbled mid-stretch, eyes widening. Really? You said that was advanced Uzumaki stuff. You said I wasn't ready. I said you weren't ready yesterday, Kurama corrected, amusement rumbling beneath his words. Today we try. Your control has improved enough to attempt it. Excitement sparked through Naruto like lightning. For months, Kurama had been telling him stories about the Uzumaki clan, their legendary sealing techniques, their vitality, and most tantalizing of all, their ability to manifest solid chakra chains that could bind even the most powerful beings. Even-tailed beasts, Naruto had whispered when Kurama first mentioned it, connecting the dots with surprising quickness. Even-tailed beasts, Kurama had confirmed, an old bitterness coloring his tone. Your mother was particularly skilled at it. The casual mention of his mother had sent Naruto into a frenzy of questions, but Kurama had gone stubbornly silent, refusing to elaborate. It had been their first real argument, Naruto demanding to know more about his parents, Kurama insisting the time wasn't right. Some knowledge is dangerous, the fox had growled. Some truths have enemies. Wait until you're stronger. Naruto had sulked for days afterward, but eventually, his trust in Kurama had won out over his desperate curiosity. If Kurama said it wasn't safe to know yet, then it wasn't safe, and Naruto had learned that Kurama, for all his gruffness, never lied to him. Now, standing in the clearing with the promise of his heritage at his fingertips, Naruto could hardly contain himself. What do I do first? He asked, bouncing on the balls of his feet. Sit. Meditate. Center yourself. Naruto groaned but complied, dropping cross-legged onto the soft grass, hands resting on his knees, palms up. His eyes drifted closed, his breath slowed, and he sank into the familiar mental landscape where his chakra flowed like a river through his body, a river that had once been wild and untamed but now moved with growing purpose under his direction. Feel the core of your chakra, Kurama guided. Not mine, yours. The blue energy at your center. Imagine it stretching outward, like an extension of your will, taking solid form. Sweat beaded on Naruto's brow as he concentrated, reaching for the sensation Kurama described. At first, there was nothing, just the familiar pulse of energy circulating through his pathways. Then, like a fish breaking the surface of a pond, something new emerged, a sensation of his chakra reaching beyond his skin, stretching into the physical world. I feel it, he gasped, eyes flying open. Golden light spilled from his palms, not quite a chain yet, more like threads of sunlight given substance, wavering in the morning air. Naruto stared in wonder, watching as the threads twisted and coiled, seeking a shape they couldn't quite maintain. Focus, Kurama urged. Don't just feel it, direct it. Impose your will. Give it purpose. Naruto gritted his teeth, pouring his concentration into the glowing threads. They thickened, solidified, links beginning to form, and then shattered into particles of light that faded into the air. Ah man! Naruto flopped backward onto the grass, panting from the effort. I almost had it. For a first attempt, it was impressive, Kurama said. Your mother couldn't manifest even that much until she was twice your age. Naruto sat up, eyes bright. Really? I did better than my mom? At this particular technique, at this particular age, yes. Don't get a swelled head about it. She'd still have wiped the floor with you in an actual fight. But Naruto was already grinning ear to ear, filing away the small detail about his mother with the careful precision of someone assembling a puzzle with too many missing pieces. I'm going to try again. And he did again and again and again, until the morning sun climbed high overhead and sweat plastered his shirt to his back. By midday, he could form a single chain that held its shape for nearly 10 seconds before dissolving. Enough, Kurama finally ordered as Naruto swayed on his feet, chakra reserves depleted even with his extraordinary stamina. Food. Rest. Then we moved to physical training. Naruto wanted to argue but knew better. 2 years under Kurama's tutelage had taught him the fox wouldn't budge on matters of health and recovery. Instead, he retrieved his lunch from his pack, a balanced meal of rice, grilled fish, and vegetables that the old Naruto would have turned his nose up at, but that the new Naruto devoured with appreciation for the energy it provided. As he ate, Kurama spoke, continuing their ongoing lessons on shinobi history and theory subjects Naruto struggled to pay attention to in academy classes, but absorbed eagerly when delivered in Kurama's rumbling voice. The second Hokage's development of the Flying Thunder God technique revolutionized combat, the fox explained. Instantaneous movement between marked locations gave him an advantage that even the most skilled sensors couldn't counter. The Flying Raijin is an example of how sealing techniques, a specialty of your clan, can be weaponized beyond their traditional applications. Could I learn it? Naruto asked through a mouthful of rice. Eventually. The sealing knowledge required is advanced. Focus on mastering the basics first. You always say that, Naruto grumbled good-naturedly. Because it's always true. Kurama's mental equivalent of a snort rippled through their connection. Now finish eating. You have academy classes this afternoon, Naruto groaned, shoulders slumping. Do I have to go? It's so boring compared to our training. Yes, you have to go, Kurama said firmly. For multiple reasons. First, to maintain appearances ***. I know. Don't let anyone know how strong I'm getting. Precisely. Second, to learn what they're teaching other students your age ***. So I know what normal kids can do. And third, Naruto sighed. To make connections with my future teammates and allies. Correct. The village may fear and avoid you now, but some of those children will fight alongside you one day. Bonds formed early are the strongest, but none of them want to be friends with me, Naruto said, the old hurt surfacing despite his best efforts to sound indifferent. Their parents tell them to stay away. Something like a growl vibrated through Kurama's voice. Some will see beyond their parents' prejudice, given time. Be patient. Be persistent. Be yourself, the true self you're becoming, not the mask you've worn. Naruto nodded, trusting Kurama's wisdom even when it felt impossible. He packed up his lunch remnants, splashed cold stream water on his face to wash away the morning's sweat, and began the trek back toward the village, moving more openly now that the day was in full swing. Remember your physical training this evening, Kurama reminded him. And no ramen for dinner. You had it twice last week already. Ah, come on. I worked hard today, which is precisely why your body needs real nutrition, not salt and noodles. Naruto's theatrical sigh could have filled a sail, but the argument was good-natured, a comfortable routine between them. For all his grumbling, he had seen the results of Kurama's nutrition regimen. While still shorter than some of his classmates, a fact that drove him crazy, his body had filled out with lean muscle, his stamina had increased exponentially, and his recovery time from injuries had shortened to an almost alarming degree. Fine, he conceded, but I want beef tonight. with extra vegetables. He made a face at the last word, though they both knew it was mostly for show these days. Deal. As Naruto approached the academy building, he took a deep breath and settled the mask into place. The slightly too loud voice, the exaggerated swagger, the mischievous grin that never quite reached his eyes. It wasn't entirely fake. That boisterous personality was still part of him. But it was no longer all of him, no longer the desperate cry for attention it had once been. Remember, Kurama murmured as Naruto pushed through the academy doors. Mediocrity in the classroom ***. Excellence in private, Naruto finished silently. I know. Just enough to pass, not enough to stand out. He slid into his classroom just as the bell rang, ignoring the whispers that followed him to his seat. Iruka Umino slapped a stack of graded papers onto his desk with more force than strictly necessary, causing several students to jump in their seats. His dark eyes scanned the classroom, settling on the empty chair in the third row. Naruto Uzumaki, he announced, is late. Again. As if summoned by his name, the door banged open, and Naruto burst into the room, all bright orange clothes and boundless energy. Sorry, Iruka-sensei. There was this cat stuck in a tree, and then this old lady needed help with her groceries, and then, save it, Iruka cut him off, pointing to the empty seat. Sit down. We're reviewing transformation techniques today. Naruto slid into his chair, the picture of chastised innocence except for the barely suppressed grin that told Iruka he wasn't remotely sorry. The teacher sighed internally. Uzumaki Naruto had been a thorn in his side since the boy started at the academy, always disrupting, always challenging, always seeking attention through increasingly elaborate pranks. And yet, something had changed in the past couple of years. It was subtle enough that most of Iruka's colleagues hadn't noticed, but Iruka prided himself on paying attention to his students. The changes in Naruto were small but significant. Homework occasionally turned in on time, practical exercises completed with just enough skill to avoid failing, but never enough to excel, and a new thoughtfulness behind the mischievous blue eyes. Today we'll practice transforming into each other, Iruka announced. Everyone line up. When I call your name, you'll transform into the classmate standing next to you. The students shuffled into position, some eager, others nervous. Naruto ended up beside Sasuke Uchiha, the class prodigy, a pairing that made Iruka wince in anticipation of trouble. The two boys couldn't be more different. Sasuke, serious and driven by the dark shadow of his clan's massacre. Naruto, loud and seemingly carefree despite the village's coldness toward him. One by one, the students performed the transformation jutsu with varying degrees of success. When Sasuke's turn came, he executed a flawless transformation into Naruto, capturing every detail down to the whisker marks and the slightly scuffed sandals. Excellent, Sasuke. Iruka nodded. Naruto, you're next. Transform into Sasuke. Naruto stepped forward, making an exaggerated show of concentration, complete with screwed-up face and theatrical hand signs. Smoke enveloped him, clearing to reveal a mostly accurate Sasuke, except with slightly crooked hair and a goofy smile that the real Sasuke would never wear. Several students snickered. Sasuke scowled. Iruka opened his mouth to critique the transformation when something made him pause. A flicker of something in Naruto's eyes. A calculation. A decision. And in that moment, Iruka knew with sudden certainty that Naruto could have performed the jutsu perfectly if he'd wanted to. Acceptable, Iruka said slowly, watching Naruto's face. Though you need to work on the details, Naruto. Sasuke's hair doesn't stick up like that on the left side. Yes, Iruka-sensei. Naruto chirped, releasing the transformation with another cloud of smoke. But as he returned to his place in line, his eyes met Iruka's for a brief moment, and the teacher was startled by the awareness he saw there. So at odds with the class clown persona. Iruka filed the observation away for later consideration, continuing down the line of students. But his gaze kept returning to Naruto, reassessing the boy he thought he knew. The confrontation came at the end of the school day, as Naruto was leaving the academy grounds. He'd barely made it past the front gate when a voice called out behind him. Hey, dead last. Naruto turned to find Sasuke Uchiha regarding him with cold dark eyes, hands shoved deep in his pockets. Despite being the same age, Sasuke carried himself with the gravity of someone much older, the weight of his clan's destruction evident in the set of his shoulders and the shadows beneath his eyes. What do you want, Sasuke? Naruto asked, dropping some of his usual exuberance in the face of the other boy's intensity. That transformation today, Sasuke said bluntly. You messed it up on purpose. Inside Naruto's mind, Kurama stirred with interest. Careful, the fox warned. The Uchiha boy is more perceptive than the others. I don't know what you're talking about, Naruto replied, scratching the back of his head with a practiced look of confusion. I'm just not good at transformations. Liar. Sasuke stepped closer, dark eyes boring into blue. Your hand signs were perfect. Your chakra control was steady. You deliberately added flaws to the final result. Naruto's stomach tightened. He'd underestimated Sasuke's observational skills. Why would I do that? That's what I want to know, Sasuke said, voice low and intense. Why pretend to be worse than you are? The playground around them had emptied, the other children rushing home or to after-school activities. It was just the two of them now, facing each other like miniature versions of the shinobi they would become. This is dangerous ground, Kurama murmured. But also an opportunity. The Uchiha boy is isolated, like you. Distrustful, like you. Perhaps ***. Understanding Kurama's unspoken suggestion, Naruto took a calculated risk. He let some of his facade slip, not all of it, but enough that the practiced smile faded and his posture straightened into something more confident, more centered. Maybe I have my reasons, he said quietly, holding Sasuke's gaze. Maybe it's easier to be underestimated. Something flickered across Sasuke's face, surprise, quickly masked by his usual stoicism. That's actually not stupid. Coming from Sasuke, it was practically effusive praise. Naruto allowed a small, genuine smile. Thanks. I think. But why bother? Sasuke pressed, genuinely curious now. If you're stronger than you let on, why hide it? Wouldn't you want recognition? The question hit closer to home than Sasuke could know. Before Kurama, recognition had been all Naruto craved, desperate, clawing need for acknowledgement that had driven him to increasingly outlandish behavior. Now, sometimes, Naruto said carefully, the right people recognize you, even when everyone else doesn't see you clearly. And sometimes that's enough. Sasuke stared at him, something unreadable passing through his dark eyes. For a moment, it seemed he might say more, might open some crack in his carefully constructed armor. Then the moment passed, his expression shuddering closed. Whatever, he said, turning away. Just don't hold me back when we're put on teams. Naruto blinked in surprise. You think we'll be on the same team? Sasuke shrugged without looking back. Top student and bottom student usually get paired together. Balance. He walked away, hands still in his pockets, shoulders a rigid line against the setting sun. Interesting, Kurama observed as Naruto watched Sasuke disappear down the street. You managed that well. Neither confirming nor denying, but establishing a connection nonetheless. He's lonely, Naruto said softly, the realization striking him with unexpected force. Maybe even lonelier than I am. Perhaps. His pain is different from yours, but no less real. Remember that, in future dealings with him. Naruto nodded, turning toward home, mind still churning over the encounter. Kurama? Yes, Kid? You said I shouldn't let people know I'm getting stronger. But maybe some people would be okay to know. Like Sasuke? A thoughtful rumble filled his mind as Kurama considered. Selectively revealing your true abilities to carefully chosen allies is not the same as broadcasting them to all. The Uchiha boy might indeed be a worthwhile confidant eventually. But proceed with caution. Trust must be earned, not freely given. Like with you? Naruto asked, a smile touching his lips. Precisely, Kurama agreed, his mental voice warming with something close to affection. Now, as promised, beef for dinner. With vegetables, and maybe just a little ramen? Naruto wheedled. Don't push your luck, Kid. Night draped itself over Konoha like a velvet cloak, streetlights casting pools of gold across the quiet roads. In his apartment, Naruto moved through a series of katas that Kurama had designed specifically for him, movements that complemented his natural agility and stamina, building muscle memory that would serve him in future battles. Sweat gleamed on his brow as he flowed from one position to the next, his concentration absolute. Gone was the hyperactive child who couldn't sit still for 5 minutes. In his place was a focused young warrior, every movement deliberate, every breath controlled. Good, Kurama approved as Naruto completed the sequence without a single misstep. Your form is improving. Again, but faster this time. Naruto nodded, resuming the starting position. As he moved through the kata at increased speed, his mind drifted to the day's events: Iraka's curious gaze, Sasuke's confrontation, the strange feeling of being seen beneath his carefully constructed mask. His concentration slipped, and he stumbled mid-kick, catching himself before he fell but breaking the flow of the sequence. Your mind is wandering, Kurama observed. What troubles you? Naruto sighed, wiping sweat from his forehead with the back of his arm. I was thinking about what Sasuke said. About being recognized. It's just before you started talking to me, all I wanted was for people to notice me. To acknowledge me. Now I'm hiding how strong I'm getting, and it feels weird sometimes. Like I'm going backward. There's a difference between being acknowledged for a facade and being valued for your true self, Kurama said thoughtfully. The precious few who see your real strength will offer acknowledgement worth having, I guess. Naruto flopped down onto his bed, staring up at the ceiling. But sometimes I just want to show everyone what I can do. Make them all realize they were wrong about me, and that day will come, Kurama assured him. But revealing your hand too early would only invite unnecessary scrutiny and potential interference in your training. Patience, Kit. The foundation we're building now will support greater heights later. Naruto nodded, understanding the wisdom even as the child in him chafed against it. Hey, Kurama? Yes, thank you. The words came out softer than he'd intended, thick with emotion he couldn't quite name. For everything. For teaching me. For he swallowed hard. For being my family. A profound silence filled their mental connection, not the absence of response, but a moment so full of feeling that it defied immediate expression. When Kurama finally spoke, his thunderous voice was gentler than Naruto had ever heard it. You are welcome, Naruto Uzumaki. The simple acceptance of his gratitude, without deflection or dismissal, made Naruto's eyes sting with unexpected tears. He blinked them away, embarrassed by the surge of emotion but not ashamed of it. 2 years ago, he would have hidden such vulnerability even from himself. Now, he recognized it as another kind of strength. I should finish my katas, he said, sitting up. Let's leave it for tonight, Kurama said. You've done enough. Rest now. Are you sure? Naruto's eyebrows rose in surprise. Kurama rarely cut their training short. I'm sure. Sleep well, Kit. Naruto smiled, settling under his covers without further argument. Good night, Kurama. As the boy drifted into sleep, breaths deepening, face relaxing into peaceful innocence, Kurama remained awake in the depths of his consciousness. The nine-tailed fox, scourge of the shinobi world, destroyer of villages, embodiment of calamity, hovered protectively over the dreams of a 7-year-old child who had called him family. The word echoed through the vast chambers of Kurama's ancient psyche, stirring memories long buried under centuries of hatred and bitterness, memories of the Sage of Six Paths, the closest thing to a father he'd ever known. Of being valued not as a weapon but as a living being with thoughts and feelings of his own. Family, Kurama whispered to the darkness, testing the weight of the concept against his long-held resentments. He had begun this arrangement for pragmatic reasons. A stronger vessel meant a more comfortable prison, a more mentally stable Jinchuriki meant more leverage for eventual freedom. He had not anticipated this attachment. This protective instinct that now coursed through him whenever Naruto faced danger or rejection. This pride that swelled when the boy mastered a difficult technique or showed unexpected insight. It was concerning. Dangerous even. Such emotional entanglement had never been part of his plan. And yet, as he watched over Naruto's peaceful slumber, Kurama couldn't bring himself to regret the bond forming between them. The boy's trust, his gratitude, his unflagging determination to meet every standard. Kurama said these things had awakened something in the ancient fox that he thought long dead. Something warm and fierce and terrifyingly close to love. What are you doing to me, Naruto Uzumaki? Kurama murmured, even as he extended his consciousness like a protective blanket over the boy's dreams, chasing away the shadows that had once plagued his nights. What are you turning me into? No answer came but the soft rhythm of Naruto's breathing, steady, trusting, untroubled. And in that peaceful silence, Kurama confronted the uncomfortable truth that he was changing just as surely as his young hosts, their journey reshaping them both in ways neither could have anticipated. For the first time in centuries, the nine-tailed fox faced a force more powerful than hatred, more binding than any seal, the unconditional love of a child who had never known what it was to be wanted, now directed at the very demon the world had taught him to fear. And Kurama, ancient and terrible and wise beyond human reckoning, found himself utterly defenseless against it. Chapter 4, Academy Days. Chalk dust hung in the air like morning mist, catching the sunlight that streamed through the academy classroom windows. The scent of wooden pencils, paper, and 30 restless children mingled in the warm spring air. At the back of the room, 9-year-old Naruto Uzumaki balanced precariously on the back legs of his chair, a kunai spinning around his index finger with casual precision that belied years of practice. Naruto! Iruka-sensei's voice cracked across the classroom. Point 4 legs on the floor, and put that weapon away before you hurt someone. Naruto let the chair crash forward with a theatrical yelp that sent ripples of laughter through the classroom. His classmates' amusement washed over him, not the cruel mockery of years past, but something lighter, almost affectionate. The class clown. The troublemaker. A role he perfected to an art form. Sorry, Iruka-sensei, Naruto called, flashing his signature grin wide and bright, and just a touch too mischievous to be sincere. With a flourish, he pocketed the kunai, catching Iruka's eye with a wink that made the teacher's eye twitch in exasperation. A bit much, Kurama's voice rumbled through his mind, dry as autumn leaves. Subtlety is still a foreign concept to you, isn't it? They expect a show, Naruto thought back, his internal voice steady and focused even as he maintained his outward appearance of distraction. Gotta give the people what they want. Inside him, Kurama's chuckle reverberated like distant thunder. 4 years of their partnership had refined their communication to the point where entire conversations could flow beneath the surface of Naruto's conscious mind, undetectable to anyone watching. Today we'll be reviewing the substitution technique, Iruka announced, pacing before the chalkboard where diagrams of hand seals were meticulously drawn. This is a fundamental evasion technique that every shinobi must master. Who can tell me the primary purpose of the substitution jutsu? Several hands shot up, the usual suspects. Sakura, eager to prove her book knowledge. Sasuke, confident and aloof. Ino, competitive as always. Naruto kept his hand firmly on his desk, eyes slightly unfocused, the picture of inattention. Naruto! Iruka barked, predictably zeroing in on the apparently distracted student. Since you're clearly paying such close attention, perhaps you'd like to answer? All eyes turned to him. Naruto scratched the back of his head, looking momentarily panicked, a calculated expression he practiced in the mirror until it was flawless. To substitute? He offered lamely, triggering the expected wave of snickers. Iruka sighed heavily. The substitution technique allows a shinobi to quickly replace their body with another object to avoid attacks. It's one of the most basic survival techniques in your arsenal, which you would know if you were listening. Oh, right! Naruto exclaimed as if this were brand new information, while mentally reciting the 12 different applications of the technique that Kurama had drilled into him months ago, including its limitations against sensor-type ninja and its effectiveness when combined with shadow clones. Now, everyone line up, Iruka instructed. We'll practice with these rubber kunai. When I throw one at you, execute the substitution jutsu to avoid being hit. The students formed a ragged line. One by one, they performed with varying degrees of success, Sasuke executing a flawless substitution that left a log in his place, Sakura managing cleanly but with visible strain, Kiba barely avoiding the rubber weapon with a last-second switch that left him off balance. When Naruto's turn came, he made a grand show of concentration, face scrunched in exaggerated focus, hands forming seals with deliberate clumsiness. Iruka's rubber kunai flew toward him, and struck him squarely in the forehead. "Oh wow!" Naruto howled, clutching his head and staggering backward with a display of pain so theatrical it would make a stage actor cringe. Oscar-worthy, Kurama deadpanned as the class erupted in laughter. I thought so, Naruto replied smugly, continuing his performance of wounded dignity, while Iruka lectured him about focus and practice. What no one saw, what no one could see, was how Naruto had actually begun the substitution jutsu perfectly, then deliberately aborted it at the last microsecond, allowing himself to be hit. The chakra control required to halt a technique mid-execution was, ironically, far more advanced than simply completing it would have been. Later, as they filed out for lunch break, Shikamaru Nara fell into step beside Naruto, hands shoved deep in his pockets, perpetual look of boredom firmly in place. "You know," he drawled, gaze fixed lazily on the clouds overhead, "for someone who can't perform a substitution jutsu, you sure have impressive chakra control." Naruto's heart skipped a beat. Inside, Kurama's attention sharpened like a predator catching a scent. "The Nara boy sees more than he lets on," the fox observed. "Careful now, huh?" Naruto adopted his most convincing look of confusion. "What are you talking about, Shikamaru?" Shikamaru's dark eyes slid sideways, pinning Naruto with a gaze far too shrewd for a 9-year-old. "I'm talking about how you stopped your chakra flow exactly 0.2 of a second before completing the technique. That's harder than just doing the substitution." For a moment, Naruto considered denying it further, but something in Shikamaru's expression, not accusation but genuine curiosity, made him reconsider. "What makes you think that?" he asked instead, neither confirming nor denying. The corner of Shikamaru's mouth quirked up. "I notice things. It's troublesome, actually." He yawned, stretching his arms above his head. "Don't worry. I'm too lazy to tell anyone." Before Naruto could respond, Choji appeared, munching contentedly on a bag of chips. "Hey guys. Want some?" he offered, holding out the bag with a generous smile that lit up his round face. The moment with Shikamaru passed, but something shifted between them, a quiet recognition, a secret shared. As they settled under the shade of a sprawling oak tree, Choji happily chattering about his mother's cooking, Naruto felt an unfamiliar warmth spread through him that had nothing to do with the spring sunshine. "This," Kurama murmured in his mind, "is the beginning of something important. These bonds you're forming, nurture them." For once, Naruto didn't need the ancient fox's wisdom to understand. He already knew. The academy day ended with the sparse students paired off in the training yard under Irika's watchful eye. The rules were simple. Taijutsu only, no ninjutsu or weapons, first to pin their opponent for a 3-count wins. Naruto vs. Sasuke, Irika called, consulting his clipboard. A collective rippled through the gathered students. These matchups were always entertaining: the class clown against the prodigy, the loudmouth against the stoic, the dead last against the top student. Sasuke stepped into the sparring circle, dark eyes cool and assessing. "Try to make this interesting, dope." Naruto bounced on his toes, rolling his shoulders with exaggerated confidence. "I'm gonna wipe the floor with you. Believe it." "Remember," Kurama cautioned as Naruto settled into a deliberately sloppy fighting stance. "Lose, but make him work for it. Show just enough skill to be credible without revealing your training." I know the drill. Naruto responded silently. Been doing this for years. Begin. Irika's hand slashed downward. Sasuke moved like liquid shadow, closing the distance with practiced efficiency. His first strike, a straight jab aimed at Naruto's solar plexus, was textbook perfect. Naruto blocked it, not with the flailing, lucky deflection everyone expected, but with a precise forearm movement that redirected the force of Sasuke's blow past his body. For a heartbeat, surprise flickered across Sasuke's stoic features. Then Naruto deliberately overextended his counterattack, leaving his right side exposed. Sasuke capitalized instantly, landing a solid blow to Naruto's ribs that sent the blonde boy staggering. "Too slow," Sasuke taunted, pressing his advantage with a flurry of strikes. Naruto blocked 2, dodged a third, then allowed the fourth to connect, a calculated decision that looked, to all observers, like simply being outmatched. He fell back, seemingly off balance, then launched a wild haymaker that Sasuke easily ducked. The dance continued, Naruto showing just enough skill to make the fight interesting, mixing genuine technique with apparent mistakes that gave Sasuke openings. To the watching students, it looked like Naruto had improved but was still hopelessly outclassed by the Uchiha prodigy. Only Shikamaru, watching through half-lidded eyes from his lounging position against the fence, noticed the moments when Naruto pulled punches that could have landed, or how he telegraphed moves just enough to allow Sasuke to counter them. The spar ended predictably, Sasuke sweeping Naruto's legs and pinning him to the ground with a triumphant smirk. "Winner, Sasuke," Irika announced, to no one's surprise. As they rose, dusty and panting, Sasuke fixed Naruto with a penetrating stare. "You're still holding back," he said, voice pitched low enough that only Naruto could hear. "Why?" Naruto flashed his signature grin, bright and deflective. Don't know what you're talking about. You beat me fair and square. Sasuke's eyes narrowed, but before he could press further, Iruka called the next pair to the circle, and the moment passed. As Naruto retreated to the sidelines, he caught Shikamaru watching him with that same penetrating gaze, a thoughtful frown creasing his brow. The Nara and the Uchiha, Kurama observed. Both too perceptive for comfort. You may need to adjust your strategy with them. Or maybe, Naruto thought, watching as Kiba and Shino took their positions in the sparring circle. It's time to let someone see the real me. Just a little. Twilight painted the forest in deepening shades of blue and purple, the first stars pricking the darkening sky above the canopy. Deep in his private training ground, Naruto sat cross-legged on a flat stone beside the gurgling stream, eyes closed, breathing steady and deep. In the landscape of his mind, he stood before the massive cage that housed Kurama, but the setting had changed dramatically over the years. The dank sewer had gradually transformed into a vast, open space, part forest clearing, part traditional training dojo. The cage remained, the seal intact, but it was now ornate rather than utilitarian. The bars worked with symbols of the Uzumaki clan that Kurama had taught him to recognize. Ready? Naruto asked, his mental projection standing confidently before the Nine Tails. Kurama's massive form shifted, Nine Tails swaying behind him like living flames. Focus on the element this time. Not just the shape, but the nature of the chakra itself. Their shared mental space had become a training ground like no other, a place where Naruto could practice techniques without expending physical chakra, developing the mental blueprints for jutsu before attempting them in the real world. The efficiency of this approach had accelerated his learning exponentially. Naruto closed his eyes within this inner world, feeling for the core of his chakra. Blue energy swirled around his hands, but this time he concentrated on changing its fundamental nature, pulling at something wilder, sharper, more volatile. Wind, he whispered, feeling the chakra respond, growing thinner, more cutting. Good, Kurama rumbled, crimson eyes narrowed in concentration. Now give it shape. The chakra extended from Naruto's palm, forming a swirling sphere of visible wind energy, not stable, not yet perfect, but recognizable as a Rasengan variant. I'm doing it! Naruto exclaimed, his concentration wavering with his excitement. The sphere wobbled, then dissipated in a burst of wind that ruffled his mental projection's hair. You lost focus, Kurama observed, but you held it longer than last time. The wind transformation is coming more naturally to you now. In the physical world, Naruto's eyes snapped open, a grin splitting his face. That I almost had it. When can I try it for real? Not yet, Kurama cautioned. Master it completely in our mental space first. Wind chakra is dangerous, it can cut you as easily as your enemies if you don't control it properly. Naruto nodded, understanding the wisdom in the fox's caution. He stretched, muscles stiff from sitting so long in meditation, and rose to his feet. The actual physical training would begin now, the punishing regimen of exercises and drills that Kurama had designed specifically for him. Hey Kurama, he said as he began his warm-up stretches, why do you think people in the village are still so afraid of me? It's been 9 years since whatever happened when I was born. The question had been building in him for months now, as his understanding of his status as a Jinchuriki deepened. Kurama was silent for so long that Naruto thought he might not answer. Fear has a long memory, the fox finally replied, his voice uncharacteristically subdued. Humans pass their fears to their children like heirlooms. And I gave them reason to fear. Naruto's hands stilled mid-stretch. What happened that night? You never really talk about it. Another long pause. When Kurama spoke again, his voice carried the weight of painful recollection. I was not myself. I was controlled, manipulated by a powerful Uchiha with a special eye technique. Used as a weapon against Konoha. The admission hung in the air between them, heavy with implications. Naruto absorbed this, connecting it with scattered pieces of information he'd gathered over the years. So the villagers blamed me for something that wasn't even your fault, let alone mine, he said finally, an edge creeping into his voice. Most don't know about the manipulation, Kurama clarified. They simply know that I attacked, that many died, and that you now contain me. Fear seldom concerns itself with nuance. Naruto resumed his stretches, movements more aggressive now. It's not fair. No, Kurama agreed simply. It's not. A silence fell between them, not uncomfortable but contemplative. Naruto moved through his kata with fluid precision, each movement flowing into the next like water over stones. Kurama had developed this fighting style specifically for him, a blend of traditional Uzumaki techniques, fox-like agility, and unpredictable changes in rhythm that would eventually become his signature approach. As the moon rose higher, casting silver light through the forest canopy, Naruto executed a series of flips and spinning kicks that ended with him landing in perfect balance on the surface of the stream, Chakra holding him above the rushing water. Kurama, he said suddenly, tell me more about my clan. About the Uzumaki. The fox's presence warmed with something like approval. The Uzumaki clan was known for three things: their extraordinary life force, their mastery of sealing techniques, and their distinctive red hair. Red hair? But I'm blonde. Naruto objected, tugging at a spiky lock. You take after your father in that regard, Kurama said, then seemed to catch himself. The Uzumaki were distant relatives of the Senju clan, one of Konoha's founding families. They established their own village, Uzushiobikure, the village hidden in the whirlpools, on an island nation. Naruto absorbed this hungrily, practicing water walking as Kurama continued his lesson. Their sealing techniques were so feared that during the wars, multiple nations allied specifically to destroy Uzushiobikure. The survivors scattered across the shinobi world. Some came to Konoha, which had always been allied with the Uzumaki. Your presence here is part of that legacy. So I had a whole clan, a whole village, Naruto mused, executing a perfect backflip while maintaining his chakra connection to the water's surface. And enemies of my clan destroyed it all. Yes. Which is why I've been cautious about how much of your heritage to reveal, even to you. The enemies of the Uzumaki still exist, and knowledge can be dangerous until you're strong enough to defend yourself. Naruto nodded, understanding blooming within him. So much of his life, the isolation, the secrets, the carefully constructed facade suddenly made more sense in this context. I'll rebuild it, he said abruptly, determination hardening his features in the moonlight. Not the village, maybe, but the clan. I'll make the Uzumaki name mean something again. Something powerful, something respected. Kurama's chakra surged with unexpected emotion, pride mingled with something deeper, more protective. I believe you will, Kit. But first ***. The fox's voice cut off suddenly, his attention snapping outward like a bowstring pulled taut. Kurama? What's wrong? Someone's coming. 2 chakra signatures, moving fast ANBU level. Heading directly for us. Naruto's body tensed instinctively, senses sharpening. ANBU? Why would they? No time. Get back to the village. Now. The urgency in Kurama's voice brooked no argument. Naruto leapt from the stream to the nearest tree branch, chakra pulsing through his legs as he launched himself through the forest canopy at speeds no ordinary 9-year-old could achieve. Don't go straight home, Kurama instructed as Naruto raced through the trees. Circle around, make it look like you're coming from the center of the village. If they're tracking you specifically, we don't want to confirm your training ground location. Who do you think they are? What do they want? Naruto whispered, heart pounding as he executed a series of rapid direction changes, leaving false trails as Kurama had taught him. I don't know, but their chakra signatures aren't familiar. Not regular Konoha ANBU that I've sensed before. Be on your guard. Something is happening. Naruto nodded grimly, dropping down to street level as he neared the village proper. He deliberately mussed his hair and clothes, adopting a casual saunter that suggested he'd been doing nothing more suspicious than hanging out in the village after dark. As he approached his apartment building, the feeling of being watched prickled along his spine. He forced himself not to react, maintaining his carefree demeanor while his senses strained for any sign of the presences Kurama had detected. They stopped moving, Kurama reported. Holding position about 200 meters east of us. Observing, not approaching. What do we do? Naruto murmured, pretending to search his pockets for his key. For now, nothing. Act normal. Go inside, prepare for bed as usual. But tonight, we'll need to stay vigilant. No deep meditation, no training. Light sleep only, and we'll take watches. Naruto unlocked his door and slipped inside, immediately activating the rudimentary security seals Kurama had taught him to place around his apartment. Nothing that would stop a determined ANBU, but enough to warn them of intrusion. As he went through the motions of his evening routine shower, dinner, brushing teeth, a new tension hung in the air. Something had changed, some hidden chess piece had moved on a board he couldn't fully see. "Kurama," he whispered as he settled into bed, kunai hidden beneath his pillow, "what do you think is happening?" The fox's voice was grave when he answered. "I don't know, Kit. But whatever it is, we need to be ready. I sense changes coming, challenges that will test everything we've built together." Naruto nodded in the darkness, blue eyes fixed on the ceiling, mind racing with possibilities. The cocoon of relative safety they'd constructed over 4 years of secret training suddenly felt fragile, threatened by forces beyond his comprehension. "Sleep," Kurama urged gently. "I'll keep watch first. Whatever comes, we'll face it together. Remember everything I've taught you." "Together," Naruto agreed, closing his eyes but remaining alert, body poised for action despite his seemingly relaxed posture. Outside, shadow figures moved across rooftops, their presence known only to the ancient entity watching through the eyes of a boy who contained far more than anyone in the village suspected. Like the calm before a storm, tension built in the night air, a harbinger of changes that would soon sweep through their carefully constructed world. Inside his seal, Kurama's tails lashed with agitation, crimson eyes narrowed as he extended his senses beyond Naruto's body, searching the darkness for threats. For 4 years, he had prepared his host, trained him, protected him, guided him towards strength while nurturing the compassion that made Naruto uniquely himself. Now, it seemed, the time for testing that preparation had arrived sooner than he'd hoped. "No matter what comes," he vowed silently as Naruto drifted into light, vigilant sleep, "I will not let them harm you, Kit. This I swear on all that I am." The night deepened around them, pregnant with unseen dangers, as predators circled what they believed to be easy prey, unaware that within the supposed lamb lurked one of the most ancient and powerful predators of all, and he was very, very awake. Chapter 5, The Genin Exam. Morning light sliced through Naruto's window blinds, painting golden stripes across his bedroom wall. The calendar hanging beside his bed bore a bright red circle around today's date, graduation day. In 12 hours, he'd either be a genin or a failure, at least in the eyes of Konoha. Naruto's fingers traced the spiral emblem on his bedside lamp, a subtle nod to his Uzumaki heritage that no one but he and Kurama would recognize. 4 years of secret training, of carefully maintained mediocrity, of showing just enough improvement to be credible without revealing his true capabilities, all of it culminating in today's test. "I'm ready," he whispered, steel in his voice despite the early hour. "Are you?" Kurama's rumble held a hint of challenge. "Show me." Naruto's hands flashed through a series of signs, chakra swirling around him in controlled currents. 3 perfect shadow clones materialized in his bedroom, identical down to the sleep-rumpled hair and determined blue eyes. "How's that?" the original Naruto asked, a cocky grin spreading across his face as his clones struck different poses. "Acceptable. Now dispel them before your neighbors sense the chakra." With a casual flick of his wrist, Naruto released the jutsu. The clones vanished in puffs of smoke that dissipated quickly in the morning air. "I still don't get why the academy teaches that useless regular clone jutsu instead of shadow clones," Naruto grumbled, yanking open his closet to retrieve his signature orange jumpsuit. "The illusionary ones can't even do anything, because most genin candidates don't have enough chakra to create a single shadow clone without risking chakra exhaustion," Kurama explained, not for the first time. "You, on the other hand, could create 50 without breaking a sweat." Naruto grinned at the thought as he dressed, recalling the night 3 months ago when he mastered the technique in a matter of hours. The forest clearing had been bathed in moonlight, Naruto's frustration palpable as he struggled with yet another failed basic clone. The illusions kept emerging pale, sickly, unable to stand pathetic imitations that would never pass the academy exam. I don't get it," he'd shouted, kicking at a nearby tree stump. "I can walk on water. I can form chakra chains. Why can't I make a simple clone?" Kurama's voice had rumbled through his mind, thoughtful rather than critical. "Your chakra control has improved tremendously, but your reserves are simply too vast for such a delicate technique. It's like trying to fill a teacup with a waterfall." Then what do? "I have to pass that test." Asterisk. Asterisk. A moment of contemplative silence had followed before Kurama spoke again. There is an alternative. A forbidden technique, but one far better suited to your abilities. Asterisk. Naruto's eyes had widened. Forbidden? Like illegal? Asterisk. Asterisk. Not illegal for you to know, precisely. Just restricted because of its chakra requirements. It's called the Shadow Clone Jutsu, a solid clone technique that creates physical duplicates rather than mere illusions. Asterisk. Physical duplicates? You mean clones that can actually touch things? Fight? That's awesome. Asterisk. Asterisk. More than that, Kurama had continued, a hint of amusement coloring his voice. When a shadow clone dispels, its memories and experiences return to the original. Imagine the training applications. Asterisk. Naruto had caught on instantly. His frustration forgotten. I could learn things way faster. Practice techniques with multiple bodies. This is perfect. Asterisk. Asterisk indeed. But mastering it will not be easy, and when the time comes asterisk. Asterisk. Yeah, I know. Fail the regular clone jutsu at the exam. Pass in some other way. Keep my real strength hidden. Strategy, not showing off. Naruto had rolled his eyes, but his excitement had been undeniable. Now teach me the hand signs. Asterisk. The memory faded as Naruto finished dressing. He adjusted his goggles, not yet daring to dream of a proper Konoha headband, and examined his reflection in the mirror. So what's the plan for today? He asked, running fingers through spiky blonde hair. Fail spectacularly on the clone test, then what? Observe the situation, Kurama advised. I sensed unusual tension among the instructors yesterday. Something is different about this exam. Naruto nodded, trusting the fox's instincts. Those mysterious A and B signatures they'd detected weeks ago had never returned, but both of them remained on high alert. The political currents running through Konoha were complex, and neither fully trusted the Hokage's protection, despite the old man's occasional kindnesses toward Naruto. Right. Play it by ear, but stay on guard. Naruto slapped his cheeks twice, psyching himself up. Let's do this. The streets of Konoha buzzed with early morning activity, shopkeepers raising their shutters, farmers hauling produce to market, shinobi leaping across rooftops on various missions. Naruto navigated through the crowds with practiced ease, dodging the occasional cold glare or whispered insult without breaking stride. Those barbs that once cut deep had lost their edge over years of Kurama's guidance. A flash of silver hair caught his attention just before he reached the academy gates. Mizuki-sensei, speaking in hushed tones with a shinobi Naruto didn't recognize. The conversation ended abruptly as Naruto approached, both men stiffening slightly before Mizuki turned with a too bright smile. Naruto, ready for the big day? The silver-haired Chunin's voice practically dripped with false cheer. You bet. I'm gonna pass for sure this time, believe it. Naruto pumped his fist, projecting his usual brash confidence while his senses sharpened, cataloging every detail of Mizuki's demeanor. His chakra is disturbed, Kurama observed. Anxiety, anticipation, and something darker. Be wary of this one today. I knew he never liked me, but this feels different. Naruto thought back as he chatted with Mizuki, maintaining his oblivious facade. Something's up. The academy classroom hummed with tension as students filed in, some projecting confidence, others betraying nervousness through fidgeting hands and darting eyes. Naruto took his usual seat, feigning relaxation while carefully monitoring the instructor's movements. Irika entered last, clipboard in hand, his scarred face unusually solemn. Today's exam will test the fundamental skills required of a genin, he announced without preamble. You will be evaluated on written knowledge, weapons accuracy, taijutsu form, and ninjutsu execution, specifically the clone technique. Those who pass will receive their forehead protectors and team assignments. Those who fail, he let the implication hang in the air, heavy with consequence. The written test came first, surprisingly straightforward for Naruto, who had spent hours absorbing Kurama's lectures on shinobi history, chakra theory, and tactical applications. He deliberately missed a few questions to maintain his cover, but ensured a passing grade. Weapons testing followed. Naruto hit 7 of 10 targets with kunai and 8 with shuriken, respectable enough to pass, not impressive enough to draw attention. In taijutsu evaluation, he demonstrated adequate form while carefully concealing the specialized style Kurama had developed for him. Then came the clone test. Naruto Uzumaki, Iruka called, gesturing toward the testing area. Taking a deep breath, Naruto stepped forward. From the corner of his eye, he caught Mizuki leaning forward slightly, an odd tension visible in the set of his shoulders. He's waiting for you to fail, Kurama noted. Perhaps even counting on it. Then let's not disappoint him. Naruto thought grimly. Hands forming the required seals, Naruto gathered his chakra, then deliberately sabotaged his own control, allowing too much energy to flood the technique. The result was predictable. A sickly, malformed clone that collapsed in a pathetic heap beside him. Nervous laughter rippled through the room. Naruto hung his head, the picture of dejection, while his mind raced through the implications of Mizuki's reaction. The brief flash of satisfaction in the instructor's eyes. Fail, Iruka announced, genuine disappointment evident in his voice. I'm sorry, Naruto, but you haven't mastered the basic requirements. But Iruka-sensei, Naruto protested, injecting desperation into his voice. I've worked so hard. I can do other jutsu, give me another chance. Iruka's expression softened slightly, but he shook his head. The rules are clear. Every graduating student must demonstrate proficiency in the clone technique. I can't make exceptions. As Naruto trudged back to his seat, Mizuki's voice stopped him. Perhaps we could make an allowance, the silver-haired Chunin suggested, compassion dripping from every syllable. Naruto has shown improvement in other areas. Iruka frowned. The standards exist for a reason, Mizuki. We can't send unprepared genin into the field. The exchange was brief but revealing, especially when paired with the calculating look Mizuki shot Naruto when Iruka turned away. Whatever game the assistant instructor was playing, it centered on Naruto's failure. He'll approach you after the exam, Kurama predicted. Be ready. The rest of the testing proceeded as expected. By mid-afternoon, the remaining students wore shiny new headbands while Naruto sat alone on the academy swing, cultivating an image of utter disappointment that wasn't entirely feigned. Despite knowing it was strategic, the sting of public failure still bit deep. Naruto. Mizuki's voice came right on cue as the other students dispersed with their proud parents. The Chunin's face was arranged in an expression of gentle sympathy that never quite reached his eyes. I know how much you wanted to pass, Mizuki said, settling beside Naruto on the adjacent swing. Iruka can be strict, but he wants what's best for you. Easy for him to say, Naruto muttered, playing his part. This is my third try. Mizuki leaned closer, voice dropping conspiratorially. You know there is another way to pass. Naruto's head snapped up, eyes wide with manufactured hope. Another way? What is it? I'll do anything. It's a special, secret test, Mizuki explained, satisfaction gleaming behind his concerned facade. Reserved for exceptional cases. If you can infiltrate the Hokage Tower, retrieve the scroll of sealing from the restricted section, and learn one technique from it before being caught, you automatically graduate. The absurdity of the test was so obvious that Naruto had to work to keep his expression from showing his disbelief. No legitimate exam would involve stealing one of the village's most valuable artifacts. As I suspected, Kurama growled. He's using you. The question is, for what purpose? And is he working alone? Should I refuse? Alert the Hokage immediately? Naruto questioned silently. No. This is an opportunity. Spring his trap, but on our terms. Let's see what game he's playing and who he's playing it for. Decision made. Naruto unleashed his most brilliant smile. A secret test? That's perfect. I'll definitely pass this one. Believe it. You'll need to move tonight, Mizuki instructed, outlining security rotations with suspicious precision. Meet me in the forest clearing east of the monument at midnight with the scroll. As Mizuki departed, satisfaction radiating from him in almost palpable waves, Naruto maintained his excited demeanor until the Chunin was out of sight. Then his expression hardened, blue eyes narrowing as he formed a hasty plan. First stop, Hokage Tower, he murmured. But not for the reason Mizuki expects. The third Hokage's office smelled of pipe tobacco and old parchment, the afternoon sun casting long shadows across the cluttered desk where Hiruzen Sarutobi worked through an endless stream of reports. The old man didn't look up when Naruto burst in, orange-clad and vibrating with apparent outrage. Hey, old man. Why'd you let them fail me again? It's not fair, Naruto, the Hokage sighed, setting aside his brush. The standards apply to everyone. If you haven't mastered the required techniques. I know, Naruto interrupted, crossing the room in quick strides. As he approached the desk, his demeanor shifted subtly, the boisterous facade dropping away as he leaned in, voice pitched low. I need 2 minutes of the real you, not the Hokage. It's important. Hiruzen blinked, surprise flitting across his weathered features at this unexpected change. After a moment's consideration, he made a subtle hand gesture. The ANBU guards stationed invisibly around the office retreated, giving them a measure of privacy. What is it, Naruto? He asked, suddenly alert. Mizuki-sensei just tried to trick me into stealing the scroll of sealing, Naruto reported, all pretense gone. Called it a special graduation test. He wants me to meet him in the East Forest at midnight. The Hokage's eyes narrowed, killing intent briefly flaring before he controlled it. You're certain of this accusation? Completely. His instructions were too detailed about security protocols, and he specifically wants the scroll of sealing, not just any restricted document. Hiruzen studied Naruto with new interest, noting the unexpected precision of his analysis. I see. And you're telling me this because? Because I want to play along, Naruto stated boldly. Let me take a fake scroll, meet him as planned, and find out what he's really after. He's either working for someone or planning to steal the scroll himself using me as a scapegoat. The Hokage's eyebrows rose incrementally. That's surprisingly strategic thinking, Naruto. But extremely dangerous. Mizuki is a chunin with years of experience. Naruto's confident smile didn't waver. I can handle Mizuki-sensei. Can you? Hiruzen challenged, genuine curiosity in his voice. Your academy records suggest otherwise. Something shifted in Naruto's posture, then a subtle change that suddenly made him seem older, more centered. With respect, Hokage-sama, my academy records don't tell the whole story. The air between them vibrated with unspoken understanding. For years, Hiruzen had received reports of Naruto's clandestine training, of chakra signatures too controlled for a supposed failure, of glimpses of techniques no academy student should know. He'd chosen not to intervene, curious to see where this self-directed growth would lead. Now he had his answer. Very well, the Hokage said after a long moment. But you won't go alone. I'll have ANBU shadowing you far enough back that Mizuki won't detect them, close enough to intervene if necessary. And Iruka-sensei, Naruto added. He should be there. He deserves to know the truth about Mizuki. Hiruzen nodded slowly, agreed. I'll brief him personally. He fixed Naruto with a penetrating stare. But after this is over, you and I will have a long discussion about exactly what you've been learning outside the academy curriculum. Naruto grinned, unrepentant. Looking forward to it, old man. Midnight painted the forest in silver and shadow, the moon hanging full and bright above the clearing where Naruto waited, a large scroll strapped to his back. The decoy was convincing, crafted by the Hokage's personal seal masters to look and feel like the genuine article, while containing only harmless training exercises. He's late, Naruto muttered, cross-legged on a fallen log, senses stretched to their limits. He's here, Kurama corrected. Northwest corner, watching from the trees. Has been for 10 minutes. And he's not alone. Multiple enemies? Naruto tensed, hands casually moving closer to his weapons pouch. No. Iruka approaches from the east, as planned. But there's another chakra signature with Mizuki faint, like a shadow clone or a summoning, but tinged with something unnatural. Before Naruto could process this, Iruka burst into the clearing, expression thunderous. Naruto! What were you thinking, stealing the sacred scroll? He's playing his part well, Naruto thought, impressed by his teacher's conviction. Aloud, he stammered, Iruka-sensei, but Mizuki-sensei said if I learned a technique from this scroll, you'd have to let me graduate. Mizuki told you that? Iruka's genuine shock confirmed the Hokage had kept him partially in the dark, likely telling him only that Naruto had information about a plot against the village, not the full details. A chilling laugh echoed through the trees as Mizuki finally revealed himself, perched on a high branch with twin giant shurikens strapped to his back. Well done, Naruto, he called down, malice stripping away his friendly facade. Now hand over the scroll. Don't give it to him, Naruto. Iruka shouted, moving protectively in front of his student. The scroll contains forbidden jutsu that could harm the village. Naruto rose slowly, clutching the scroll with exaggerated nervousness. What's going on? Mizuki-sensei, you said this was a special test. Oh, it's special all right, Mizuki sneered, his true nature emerging like a snake shedding its skin. Special for a monster like you. Monster? Naruto echoed, injecting confusion into his voice while his mind raced ahead. Was Mizuki about to reveal what the village had kept secret for 12 years? Haven't you ever wondered why everyone in the village hates you? Mizuki's voice dripped with cruel pleasure. Why they whisper behind your back? Why parents pull their children away when you approach? No, Mizuki! Iruka shouted. It's forbidden. The nine-tailed fox that nearly destroyed our village 12 years ago wasn't killed by the fourth Hokage. Mizuki continued, ignoring Iruka's protest. It was sealed inside you. You are the nine-tailed fox. The forest fell silent, even the insects seeming to hold their breath as the accusation hung in the air. Naruto stood motionless, processing Mizuki's words not as the devastating revelation they were meant to be, but as confirmation of what he'd known for years. What will you do now, kid? Kurama's voice was calm, curious. He expects you to break down, to become vulnerable. The perfect moment to steal the scroll and possibly kill you, blaming it on your demonic nature going out of control. Then let's flip the script. Naruto decided, a calm determination settling over him. The nine-tailed fox? He repeated, voice steady. Too steady for a child who just had his world shattered. That's why everyone hates me. Confusion flickered across Mizuki's face. That's right. You're a monster, a demon that killed Iruka's parents and countless others. Even now, he hates you more than anything. No, Iruka interjected firmly. That's not true, Naruto. You're not the fox. You're Naruto Uzumaki of the Hidden Leaf, my student who works hard despite the obstacles placed before him. A boy with a pure heart and indomitable spirit. Naruto's eyes widened, genuine emotion breaking through his tactical mindset. He hadn't expected such a passionate defense from the normally strict teacher. Mizuki snarled, patience evaporating. Enough of this sentimental garbage. Give me the scroll, demon, or die where you stand. The giant shuriken whistled through the air, spinning toward Naruto with deadly precision. Time seemed to slow as multiple paths unfolded before him. Dodge easily, revealing his true speed. Let Iruka intercept it as the Chunin was already moving to do. Or, taking a third option, Naruto shifted just enough that the weapon grazed his shoulder instead of embedding in his chest, drawing blood but avoiding serious injury. The pain was sharp but clarifying, helping him maintain his role of frightened student, while signaling to Mizuki that his aim had been true. Naruto! Iruka shouted, concern evident as blood soaked through the orange jacket. I'm okay, Naruto assured him, clutching his shoulder while secretly gathering chakra. But I won't let him hurt you, Iruka-sensei. Brave words from dead meat, Mizuki laughed, readying his second shuriken. Once I kill you both and take the scroll to Lord Orochimaru, I'll be rewarded beyond measure. The name drop electrified the clearing. Orochimaru, the legendary Sannin turned traitor, one of Konoha's most dangerous enemies. Naruto exchanged a quick glance with Iruka, confirming that this revelation changed everything. Mizuki wasn't just a traitor. He was an agent of a much larger threat. You know, Naruto said conversationally, straightening despite his bleeding shoulder, I've spent years pretending to be less than I am. Always hiding, always holding back. His fingers formed a familiar cross-shaped seal. But for someone who'd betray the village to a snake like Orochimaru? I think I can make an exception. Shadow Clone Jutsu. The clearing exploded in smoke, clearing to reveal not one Naruto but 50, surrounding Mizuki in a sea of orange and determined blue eyes. The traitor's face contorted in shock, his confident sneer collapsing into confusion, and the first flickers of fear. Impossible! He gasped out. That's a Jonin-level technique. Surprise, chorused the Narutos, each voice thrumming with controlled power. Iruka stared in amazement, mind recalibrating everything he thought he knew about his supposedly dead last student. Naruto, how did you? Long story, Iruka-sensei, the original Naruto replied with a lopsided grin. I'll tell you after we take out the trash. Mizuki's face hardened, fear converting to desperate rage. You think parlor tricks will save you, demon brat? I'm a chunin of the Hidden Leaf. Correction, Naruto replied coldly. You're a traitor who just admitted to working for Orochimaru. And now you're about to be a punching bag. The clones moved as one entity, a coordinated assault that spoke of countless hours of tactical training. They didn't attack wildly as might be expected from an academy student's first use of the technique, but in waves, some engaging directly, others providing covering fire with kunai, still others maneuvering to cut off escape routes. Mizuki fought with the desperation of a cornered animal, his chunin skills allowing him to dispel several clones in quick succession. But for every one that vanished in a puff of smoke, 3 more pressed the attack, wearing him down through sheer numbers and surprisingly sophisticated teamwork. The final blow came not from a clone but from the original Naruto, who slipped through Mizuki's faltering defense to deliver a chakra-enhanced palm strike directly to the traitor's solar plexus, a technique Kurama had adapted from ancient Uzumaki taijutsu scrolls. Mizuki crashed through a tree trunk and lay still, thoroughly defeated. Silence descended on the clearing as the remaining clones dispersed, leaving only Naruto, Iruka, and the unconscious traitor. In the distance, ANBU operatives began moving in to secure Mizuki and the strange, seal-covered container they found hidden in his equipment pouch, likely the unnatural chakra signature Kurama had detected. Naruto turned to face Iruka, suddenly uncertain. He'd revealed far more of his true capabilities than planned, and now came the moment of reckoning. So he began awkwardly, scuffing his sandal against the forest floor. I guess I have some explaining to do. Iruka stared at him for a long moment, processing everything he'd witnessed. Then, to Naruto's surprise, a slow smile spread across the chunin's scarred face. Close your eyes, Naruto, he requested softly. Puzzled but trusting, Naruto complied. He felt something being tied around his forehead, fabric against skin, metal against fabric. You can open them now. Naruto's hand rose tentatively to his forehead, fingers tracing the metal plate now secured there, the familiar leaf insignia of a Konoha headband. Iruka's headband. But I failed the exam, Naruto whispered, genuine confusion replacing his earlier tactical mindset. The creation of 50 perfect shadow clones goes far beyond the requirements of the graduation exam, Iruka said warmly. Not to mention identifying and helping capture a traitor working for one of the village's most dangerous enemies. His expression grew more serious. Though we will need to discuss exactly how long you've been concealing your true abilities, and why. A lump formed in Naruto's throat, unexpected emotion welling up within him. After years of hiding, of careful planning and strategic anonymity, the simple acceptance in Iruka's eyes struck deeper than he'd anticipated. This is a turning point, Kurama observed, his usual gruff tones softened by something like approval. The beginning of a new phase. Your first precious person beyond me. Thank you, Iruka-sensei, Naruto managed, voice thick with feeling as the significance of the moment washed over him. This wasn't just graduation, it was the first step toward a future where he could begin revealing his true self, his true strength. Congratulations, Naruto Uzumaki, Iruka said formally, though his eyes twinkled with pride. You are now a genin of the Hidden Leaf Village. Team assignments came 3 days later, after a lengthy debriefing with the Hokage where Naruto revealed a carefully edited version of his training. He admitted to discovering the 9 tails sealed within him years ago, to communicating with the fox, and to receiving guidance on chakra control and jutsu development, but maintained that Kurama was cooperative only out of self-interest, not the deep bond they actually shared. Some truths were still too dangerous to reveal completely. The Hokage had accepted his explanation with skepticism but allowed him to continue under increased but discreet observation. Your abilities are remarkable, Naruto, he'd said, but never forget the responsibilities that come with such power. Now, seated in the academy classroom one last time, Naruto adjusted his headband with nervous fingers. The whispers around him had changed tenor, no longer dismissive but curious, even wary. Word of his role in capturing Mizuki had spread, transforming the class clown into something of an enigma overnight. Settle down, everyone, Iruka called, entering with his clipboard. Today you begin your journeys as shinobi of the Hidden Leaf. You will be divided into 3-person teams, each led by a jonin instructor. Naruto barely listened as the first few teams were announced, his mind racing ahead. Would the team selections change now that his true skill level was at least partially known? Or had the Hokage decided to maintain the original plan? Focus, Kurama murmured. Your team assignment will be critical to your future development. Each possible configuration offers different advantages and challenges. Team 7, Iruka continued, will consist of Sakura Haruno, Naruto Uzumaki. Sakura groaned audibly while Naruto perked up. The pink-haired Kunoichi was academically brilliant but physically underdeveloped, a potentially good complement to his combat focus. And Sasuke Uchiha, a third of the girls in class, made sounds of disappointment, while Sakura pumped her fist in victory. Naruto glanced at Sasuke, catching the Uchiha's assessing gaze already fixed on him. The last Uchiha and the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki on the same team, Kurama noted. Not a coincidence. The Hokage is gathering powerful pieces under close supervision. And our Jonin instructor? Naruto wondered. Your Jonin sensei will be Kakashi Hatake. Iruka finished. Whispers erupted across the classroom. Even Naruto recognized that name, the legendary copy ninja, said to have mastered over 1,000 jutsu with his Sharingan eye. Kakashi of the Sharingan, Kurama growled, old tensions surfacing. Former ANBU captain. Student of the 4th Hokage. They've assigned you one of the village's elite, someone specifically equipped to handle both you and the Uchiha boy if either proves problematic. Across the room, Sasuke continued to study Naruto with renewed interest, clearly reevaluating everything he thought he knew about the class clown. Beside him, Sakura alternated between adoring glances at Sasuke and confused frowns at Naruto, trying to reconcile his new status with years of dismissing him as an annoying failure. As Iruka dismissed them for lunch before their Jonin senseis would arrive, Naruto felt a strange mixture of excitement and trepidation. Years of careful planning had brought him to this moment, graduated, assigned to a team, positioned to begin his true journey as a shinobi. But with his partial reveal came new complications, new scrutiny, new dangers. The real challenge begins now, Kurama said as Naruto rose from his seat. Navigating your new team dynamics while continuing to grow stronger without revealing everything. The Uchiha will be watching for signs of your true capabilities. The girl will recalibrate her assessment of you. And Kakashi **_ will be the most dangerous observer of all, Naruto finished silently. I know. As he headed for the door, Sasuke fell into step beside him, close enough to speak privately but not so close as to suggest friendship. Uzumaki, the dark-haired boy said quietly. It seems I underestimated you. Naruto smiled, either confirming nor denying. Looks like we're teammates now. Should be interesting, right? HN. Sasuke's trademark non-response carried a new note of speculative interest. Just don't hold me back. Wouldn't dream of it, Naruto replied lightly, a challenging glint in his blue eyes. In fact, you might want to worry about keeping up. Something almost like a smile flickered across Sasuke's normally impassive face. Not friendship, not yet, but recognition. Acknowledgement of a worthy rival. It was a start. As Sasuke walked away, Naruto touched his headband again, the metal cool beneath his fingers. Despite the complications, despite the dangers ahead, a fierce joy bubbled up within him. After years in the shadows, he could finally begin stepping into the light carefully, strategically, but inexorably. Ready for the next phase, Kit? Kurama asked, his rumbling voice carrying an unusual note of anticipation. Naruto grinned, wide and genuine. Believe it! Chapter 6. Team 7 Dynamics. Morning sunlight sliced through the trees at Training Ground 7, painting dappled shadows across the 3 genin who sat in varying states of impatience. 2 hours had passed since their appointed meeting time, and their Jonin instructor remained conspicuously absent. Sakura paced in tight circles, pink hair swinging like an agitated pendulum. This is ridiculous. What kind of elite Jonin shows up this late? HN. Sasuke leaned against the tree trunk, obsidian eyes fixed on distant mountains, feigning indifference though the tight set of his jaw betrayed his irritation. Naruto, cross-legged on the grass, watched his teammates through half-lidded eyes. Unlike previous years, where he would have been the loudest complainer, he maintained a composed silence that occasionally drew curious glances from the others. He's testing you already, Kurama observed, his rumbling voice echoing through Naruto's consciousness. Kakashi of the Sharingan is infamous for his psychological evaluations disguised as laziness. _2 can play that game, Naruto thought back, a small smile playing at the corners of his mouth. What are you smirking about? Sakura demanded, hands planted on her hips. This isn't funny, Naruto. Just thinking, he replied mildly, stretching his arms overhead. Elite Jonin probably don't follow the same rules as the rest of us. Maybe this is part of our test. Sasuke's gaze snapped toward him, dark eyebrows lifting fractionally, the Uchiha equivalent of outright shock at hearing something insightful from the class clown. Before Sakura could respond, a swirl of leaves materialized near the memorial stone, coalescing into the lanky form of Kakashi Hatake. Silver hair defied gravity above his masked face, one eye curved in a smile, while the other remained hidden beneath his tilted headband. "Good morning," he greeted cheerfully, as though arriving precisely on time. "You're late." Sakura exploded, the force of her accusation scattering birds from nearby trees. Kakashi rubbed the back of his head, visible eye crinkling. Well, a black cat crossed my path, so I had to take the long route. Naruto bit back the retort that would have burst from him in the past, instead watching the Jonin with calculated interest. Every movement, every seemingly casual gesture, Kakashi was assessing them, cataloging reactions, building mental profiles. The rumors are true, Kurama mused. Even with one eye, he misses nothing. Be cautious. The Jonin pulled two small bells from his pocket, metal catching sunlight as they dangled from his fingers. Your test is simple. Get these bells from me before noon, and you pass. Fail, and it's back to the academy. But sensei, Sakura protested, quick mind spotting the discrepancy immediately. There are only 2 bells. Exactly? Kakashi's eye gleamed with predatory amusement. At least one of you will definitely fail. Maybe all 3. The statement hung in the air, charged with competitive tension. Naruto felt Sasuke's killing intent spike, saw Sakura's shoulders tense as her gaze flickered anxiously between her crush and the bells. Most genin would miss it, the subtle manipulation, the engineered division. But Naruto, with Kurama's centuries of observing human nature, saw the trap instantly. He's pitting us against each other on purpose. He realized. The real test is teamwork. Well done, Kit, Kurama approved. Question is, what will you do with that insight? Kakashi set an alarm clock on a tree stump with theatrical precision. You have until noon. Come at me with killing intent, or you won't stand a chance. His voice hardened with the last words, killing intent flaring just enough to make the genin flinch. Begin. Sasuke and Sakura vanished instantly, the former melting into the treeline with practiced stealth, the latter diving into underbrush with more enthusiasm than skill. Naruto remained rooted in place, studying Kakashi with uncharacteristic intensity. You know, the Jonin drawled, pulling out an orange book. Usually this is the part where you shout something about not running away and charge me head on. Naruto's lips quirked. Maybe I'm not as predictable as my file suggests. Kakashi's visible eye narrowed fractionally, the first genuine reaction Naruto had provoked. We'll see. In a burst of speed, Naruto whirled away, leaves swirling in his wake as he disappeared into the forest. Not fleeing, but hunting for his teammates. He found Sasuke first, concealed in dense foliage, preparing to launch a volley of shuriken at their distracted-appearing sensei. We need to work together, Naruto whispered, materializing beside the Uchiha with barely a rustle of leaves. Sasuke's head snapped toward him, shock flickering across his normally impassive features, not at the words, but at the fact that Naruto had approached undetected. Get lost, dope, he hissed. I don't need your help. Yes, you do. Naruto's voice carried an edge of authority that momentarily caught Sasuke off guard. Look at him. Elite Jonin. Former ANBU. The famous copy ninja. You really think any genin stands a chance alone? Doubt crept into Sasuke's expression, brief but unmistakable. The test is rigged, Naruto continued urgently. It's not about the bells, it's about seeing if we can put the mission above individual achievement. Teamwork. And how exactly do you know that? Suspicion laced Sasuke's question. Pattern recognition. Naruto shrugged. Think about it, have you ever heard of a 1-person or 2-person genin team? We either all pass or all fail. The bells are misdirection. Sasuke's eyes narrowed in contemplation. Against all odds, Naruto was making sense. Fine, he conceded after a tense moment. But we need Sakura too. Naruto nodded, surprised and pleased by the Uchiha's quick acceptance. I'll find her. Meet at the stream in 3 minutes. I have a plan. From his position in the clearing, seemingly absorbed in his book, Kakashi tracked their movements with razor precision. The chakra signatures of his 3 potential students flared and dimmed as they converged at the small stream that cut through the training ground. Interesting, he thought, turning a page he hadn't actually read. Naruto found both teammates, and appears to be coordinating? Not what I expected from his psychological profile. The stillness that followed made the hairs on the back of his neck stand up, a predator's instinct recognizing a well-laid trap. Gone was the chaotic, undisciplined energy he'd anticipated. Instead, the forest hummed with focused intent. Very interesting indeed. The attack, when it came, unfolded with surprising sophistication. A barrage of shuriken from 3 different angles forced him to leap sideways directly into the path of a massive fireball that bloomed from Sasuke's position. Heat scorched the air as Kakashi substituted with a log, only to find himself dodging a volley of kunai thrown with unexpected precision by Sakura. Coordinated attacks from 3 directions. He noted, genuine surprise coloring his assessment. When did they have time to plan this? The real shock came when Naruto burst from the underbrush, not with his expected wild charge, but flanked by 4 shadow clones moving in perfect formation. They attacked in pairs, one clone fainting high while another struck low, forcing Kakashi to constantly adjust his defense against multiple angles. A solid right hook from what appeared to be the real Naruto nearly connected with his jaw, surprising Kakashi enough that Sasuke, darting in from his blind side, managed to graze one of the bells with his fingertips. The Jonin leapt away, putting distance between himself and the surprisingly effective genin assault. His visible eye crinkled not in his usual false smile, but with genuine amusement and something approaching approval. Well, he murmured, pocketing his book. Perhaps I should take this seriously. The next exchange elevated beyond any standard genin test. Kakashi moved with fluid grace, each motion precisely calculated, revealing just enough of his true skill to challenge without overwhelming. What impressed him wasn't their individual abilities, though Sasuke's fire technique was admirably controlled and Naruto's shadow clones showed remarkable tactical coordination, but their impromptu teamwork. Naruto's clones provided distractions and openings. Sasuke exploited them with lightning-fast strikes. Sakura, initially the weakest link, began anticipating their patterns, using her precise chakra control to enhance thrown weapons that herded Kakashi toward prepared traps. Who organized this? Kakashi wondered, deflecting a kick from Naruto while simultaneously evading a wire trap. His gaze kept returning to the blonde-haired boy who, according to every report, should have been charging in blindly, yet instead was calling out formations and creating strategic openings for his teammates. The final play came with 10 minutes left on the clock. Naruto's clones surged forward in what appeared to be a desperate, all-out assault. Kakashi dispatched them efficiently, only to realize too late it was a diversion. The real Naruto burst from the ground at his feet, an earth technique Kakashi hadn't expected any of them to know, while Sasuke descended from above, hands flashing through signs for another fire jutsu. Caught between them, Kakashi twisted away, directly into Sakura's path. The pink-haired girl didn't grab for the bells, she couldn't match his speed, but instead threw a smoke bomb that exploded at his feet. In the momentary blindness, something snagged the bells from his belt, a shadow clone, he realized, that had transformed into a pebble at his feet during an earlier exchange. When the smoke cleared, Naruto stood holding both bells, flanked by his teammates. Bruised, dirty, and winded, but victorious. "Time's up," Kakashi announced, just as the alarm clock blared its shrill conclusion to the test. Naruto stepped forward, bells dangling from his fingers. "We pass or fail as a team," he stated, meeting Kakashi's gaze with unexpected conviction. That was the real test, right? Recognizing that the mission comes before individual achievement. The Jonin stared at him, momentarily speechless. Those words so similar to his own core philosophy that it sent a chill down his spine. "And how do you plan to decide who gets the bells?" he challenged, recovering quickly. "Nobody does," Sasuke replied unexpectedly. "Or we all do." "Like the dobe said, we're a team." Sakura nodded firmly, though anxiety pinched her features. "3 genin, 1 Jonin sensei. That's how teams work." Kakashi studied them for a long, tense moment. Then his serious expression dissolved into his signature eye smile. Congratulations, he declared. You pass. Relief washed over their faces, even Sasuke's typically stone-cold features softened fractionally. Those who break the rules are trash, Kakashi continued, his voice taking on an emotional resonance that made them all straighten. But those who abandon their comrades are worse than trash. Remember that it's the most important lesson I can teach you. As they gathered their scattered equipment, Kakashi pulled Naruto aside with casual deliberation. Interesting approach, he remarked, visible eye studying the boy with new intensity. Not what I expected from your academy reports. Naruto rubbed the back of his head, a calculated gesture of sheepishness. Guess people can surprise you, sensei. Indeed they can. Kakashi's gaze sharpened. Where did you learn the earth technique? It wasn't in your file. I read a lot, Naruto replied with practiced vagueness. When people ignore you, it's easy to access all kinds of information. Not technically a lie. Kurama's knowledge, accumulated over centuries, included countless techniques that had been read from previous Jinchuriki. Kakashi's non-committal response carried volumes of skepticism, but he let the matter drop. For now. He'll be watching you more closely now, Kurama warned as Naruto rejoined his teammates. The gap between your file and your performance was too stark. I know, Naruto acknowledged. But I couldn't exactly fail the test just to maintain my cover. Better to show some skills now and have him think I've been hiding my abilities, than to reveal everything at once later. Kurama's rumbling approval warmed his chest. Tactical thinking. You're learning. Team 7 officially begins missions tomorrow, Kakashi announced, addressing all three genin. Meet at the bridge at 7 a.m. You mean 9 a.m., Naruto called after his retreating form, earning a surprised backward glance from the jonin and a hastily suppressed snicker from Sakura. As Kakashi vanished in a swirl of leaves, the newly formed Team 7 stood in momentary awkward silence. Years of established dynamics, Sasuke's aloof superiority, Sakura's dismissive attitude toward Naruto's loud attention-seeking suddenly required recalibration. That was good teamwork, Sasuke finally offered, the words clearly foreign on his tongue. Your fire technique was awesome, Naruto replied with genuine enthusiasm. And Sakura, that smoke bomb timing was perfect. The pink-haired girl blinked, clearly unused to sincere praise from the boy she'd dismissed for years. Thanks, she managed, a confused half-smile tugging at her lips. Your clones were surprisingly useful. It wasn't friendship yet, perhaps not even true camaraderie, but it was a beginning. As they parted ways, Naruto allowed himself a private smile. Step 1 of his gradual reveal was complete. He'd shown just enough skill to earn a measure of respect without triggering serious suspicion. The real challenges lay ahead. The weeks that followed fell into a rhythm as predictable as it was mind-numbing. D-rank missions, glorified chores, really consumed their days. Walking dogs, pulling weeds, retrieving lost pets. Throughout it all, Naruto maintained his carefully calibrated persona, energetic but more focused than expected, skilled but not suspiciously so, gradually allowing his teammates glimpses of capabilities that could be reasonably explained by dedicated training. Kakashi watched the developments with an eye that missed nothing. The subtle changes in team dynamics fascinated him, how Sasuke had begun acknowledging Naruto's tactical suggestions, how Sakura's dismissive attitude had evolved into reluctant respect, how Naruto himself seemed to be shedding layers of his class clown persona like a snake molting old skin. Most intriguing was the occasional flash of insight or knowledge Naruto displayed that no genin should possess, a casual reference to chakra theory beyond academy curriculum, an unexpectedly sophisticated trap design, moments of stillness where his usual boundless energy gave way to something older, more centered. It was during their 15th D-rank mission painting a storefront in the merchant district that Naruto finally snapped. Enough! He exclaimed, paintbrush jab toward the Hokage tower. We're capable of more than this. Even Sasuke's getting bored, and he's practically a statue. The Uchiha's brow twitched in irritation, but he didn't deny the accusation. Naruto! Sakura hissed, though with less heat than she would have mustered weeks ago. You can't talk to Hokage-sama like that. Hiruzen Sarutobi, seated behind his mission assignment desk, merely chuckled around his pipe stem. It's alright, Sakura. Perhaps Naruto has a point. Kakashi, do you believe your team is ready for a C-rank mission? The Jonin studied his 3 paint-spattered charges thoughtfully. They've demonstrated adequate teamwork, He allowed that a simple escort mission might provide valuable experience. Excellent. The Hokage shuffled through a stack of scrolls before extracting one with a blue ribbon. I have just the thing. An escort mission to the land of waves. Tizuna-san, you may enter. The door swung open to reveal an elderly man clutching a bottle of sake, eyes bloodshot and narrowed with suspicion as he surveyed the ninja assigned to protect him. These are my bodyguards? He slurred, gesturing expansively. They look like they're playing dress-up. Especially the short one with the stupid face. Naruto's eyebrow twitched, but instead of the explosive reaction everyone expected, he simply crossed his arms and grinned. Appearances can be deceiving, old man. We're tougher than we look, Tizuna snorted, taking another swig. You'd better be. I'm a master bridge builder, and I need to get home in one piece. He's lying, Kurama observed instantly. His pulse quickened and his scent changed when he mentioned getting home safely. There's more to this mission than he's revealing. I sense that too, Naruto thought, studying the old man with new intensity. But if I say anything now, they'll wonder how I know. Better to stay alert and adjust when the truth reveals itself. We leave tomorrow at dawn, Kakashi announced, visible eye roaming over his students. Pack for 2 weeks. Standard mission loadout, plus extra weapons. The subtle emphasis on weapons wasn't lost on Naruto, who caught his sensei's speculative glance. Perhaps Kakashi had noticed Tizuna's deception as well. Be prepared for combat, Kurama warned as Naruto packed that evening. The land of waves has no shinobi village for protection, making it vulnerable to outside forces. If this bridge builder is significant enough to require ninja escort, there's likely more at stake than bandits. Naruto nodded, sealing extra kunai and explosive tags into storage scrolls. We'll be ready. The attack came on their second day of travel. 2 ninja burst from a puddle on a dusty road, a puddle that had no business existing after days without rain. They wrapped Kakashi in spiked chains, apparently tearing the jonin to shreds in a gruesome display that left Sakura screaming and Tizuna frozen in terror. Naruto's reaction was instant but measured. 4 shadow clones materialized around Tizuna in a defensive formation, while the original Naruto launched forward, kunai deflecting the chain aimed at Sasuke's throat. Miss Chunin, he identified aloud, allowing his teammates to hear his assessment. Probably the Demon Brothers' poison specialists. The attacking ninja paused fractionally, surprised by the accurate recognition. How do you? Sasuke began, then cut himself off, as one of the assassins lunged toward him. The Uchiha's hands flashed through signs, culminating in a fireball that forced the attacker to break formation with his partner. It was the opening Naruto needed. His clones surged forward, tangling the deadly chain around a tree trunk, while the original delivered a chakra-enhanced palm strike to the closer assassin's sternum. The man's eyes widened in shock as he flew backward, crashing through underbrush and laying still. The second attacker, momentarily stunned by his partner's quick defeat, hesitated just long enough for Sasuke to catch him in a flying tackle. A brief, brutal exchange of blows ended with the Uchiha's foot planted firmly on the man's chest, kunai pressed to his throat. Excellent teamwork, Kakashi's voice called from the tree line as he strolled into view, completely unharmed. Though I'm curious, Naruto, how did you recognize the Demon Brothers so quickly? They're not in any standard genin threat assessment material. All eyes turned to the blonde, who managed a convincing sheepish grin despite the adrenaline coursing through his system. I read the bingo book, he admitted. The Academy library keeps copies behind the restricted section. When you're good at pranks, you get good at accessing places you're not supposed to be. It was a reasonable explanation, one that made Kakashi's eye narrow thoughtfully without triggering outright disbelief. Well, your illicit reading saved valuable time, the jonin acknowledged, turning his attention to Tizuna, who had begun sweating profusely. Now, perhaps our client would like to explain why Miss Ninja are trying to kill him on what should be a simple C-rank escort mission. The story spilled from Tizuna in a desperate flood. The shipping magnate Gato's stranglehold on Wave Country, the bridge that represented their only hope for economic freedom, the country too poor to afford proper protection. By the time he finished, even Sasuke's normally impassive face showed traces of sympathy. This is at least a B-rank mission, possibly A rank if Gato has hired Jounin-level shinobi, Kakashi stated flatly. Well beyond the parameters we accepted. Protocol dictates we return to Konoha immediately. A heavy silence fell, broken only by Tazuna's ragged breathing as he contemplated his imminent death. "We should continue," Naruto said firmly, meeting Kakashi's gaze with unwavering conviction. "These people need help, and we're already here. We can't just abandon them." "For once I agree with the dobe," Sasuke added, arms crossed. "Turning back now would be cowardly." Sakura gnawed her lower lip, torn between protocol and the obvious humanitarian need. "If both Naruto and Sasuke-kun think we should continue," she ventured hesitantly. Kakashi studied his 3 genin, something like pride flickering in his visible eye. "The mission parameters have changed substantially," he warned. "The next enemies will be stronger. Possibly Jonin level." "Then it's a good thing we have our own Jonin," Naruto countered with a grin. "And we're tougher than we look." "Right, team?" The subtle unity in that moment, Sasuke's short nod, Sakura's determined straightening of her shoulders marked a significant evolution in Team 7's dynamics. No longer 3 individuals forced together, but the nascent formation of a true fighting unit. "Very well," Kakashi sighed, though the set of his shoulders suggested he'd expected this outcome. "But we proceed with extreme caution. And when we return to Konoha, you will all receive comprehensive training in threat assessment and advanced defense techniques." They crossed into wave country under the cover of mist-laden darkness, the ferryman's oar cutting silent ripples through black water. Tension hummed through the group, every sense heightened for signs of danger. Naruto, in particular, maintained a state of hypervigilance, chakra senses stretched to their limits. "There's someone watching," Kurama warned as they disembarked onto the marshy shoreline. "Powerful. Likely Jonin level. Hidden in the trees ahead." How many? Naruto asked silently, body tense for action, while his face maintained casual alertness. "Just one for now. But his chakra signature is formidable. Be ready." Naruto subtly shifted closer to Tazuna, fingers brushing the bridge builder's sleeve in what appeared to be a casual gesture but actually positioned him for immediate defense. "Everyone down!" Kakashi suddenly shouted. The world tilted into chaos as a massive sword whirled through the air where their heads had been moments before, embedding in a tree trunk with a thunderous crack. Atop its hilt appeared a shirtless man, torso wrapped in bandages, face half covered by similar bindings, eyes gleaming with predatory intent. "Zabuza Momochi," Kakashi identified, voice hardening as he pushed his headband up to reveal his Sharingan eye. "Demon of the Hidden Mist." "Kakashi of the Sharingan," the assassin drawled, voice dripping with cruel amusement. "No wonder the demon brothers failed. Hand over the old man, and I might let your little students live." "Protect Tazuna," Kakashi ordered, not taking his mismatched eyes off their opponent. "Diamond formation. This is beyond your level." Naruto exchanged quick glances with his teammates as they formed a protective triangle around their client. Unlike the demon brothers, Zabuza's reputation was known even to Academy students. An A-rank missing Nin, one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist, infamous for slaughtering his entire graduating class as a child. "Don't engage directly," Kurama cautioned as Kakashi and Zabuza launched into battle, movement blurring with speed. "Even with my chakra, you're not ready for an opponent of this caliber. But be prepared to support your sensei strategically." Naruto nodded imperceptibly, mind racing through scenarios. Beside him, Sasuke's hands hovered near his weapon pouch, Sharingan not yet awakened but eyes tracking the high-speed combat with remarkable precision. Sakura trembled slightly but held her position, kunai gripped white-knuckled before her. The battle escalated to water clones and substitutions, jutsu flying between the Jonin at deadly velocity. When Kakashi was momentarily trapped in Zabuza's water prison, a sphere of liquid that immobilized him completely, Naruto knew they had seconds to act. "Sasuke," he called, voice pitched low and urgent. "I have a plan." Blue eyes met black in a moment of silent communication. Without Kakashi, they were hopelessly outmatched, but together, they might create an opening. "What do you need?" Sasuke asked without hesitation, the weeks of building trust evident in his immediate response. "Shadow clones to distract, your fire technique for pressure," and Naruto reached into his pack, extracting a massive shuriken. This understanding dawned in Sasuke's eyes. "Sakura," he called, "hold position with the client. We're going to free Kakashi-sensei." What followed was a symphony of coordinated movement. Naruto's shadow clones swarmed forward as diversions while Sasuke launched a massive shuriken. The real Naruto transformed into its shadow, undetected in the chaos of battle. The maneuver worked perfectly. While Zabuza focused on the obvious threat, Naruto reverted to human form behind him, driving a kunai toward the arm maintaining the water prison. The assassin was forced to release Kakashi to avoid losing his limb. Free once more, Kakashi turned the tide of battle, his Sharingan predicting and copying Zabuza's techniques until, in a final devastating water dragon collision, the missing Nin was slammed against a tree trunk, barely conscious. Before Kakashi could deliver the final blow, Senbon needles flashed through the air, embedding in Zabuza's neck with surgical precision. The massive swordsman collapsed like a puppet with cut strings. A masked figure materialized on a nearby branch, the unmistakable porcelain face of a mist hunter Nin. "Thank you for your assistance," the newcomer said, voice oddly gentle despite the deadly efficiency of their attack. "I've been tracking Zabuza for weeks." Naruto's senses prickled with suspicion. The hunter Nin's chakra signature felt wrong, too young, too controlled, too familiar? "It's a deception," Kurama confirmed, growling low in their shared mindscape. Hunter Nin dispose of bodies on sight. This one intends to take Zabuza away intact. But before Naruto could voice his concerns, Kakashi collapsed from chakra exhaustion, and the hunter Nin vanished with Zabuza's body in a swirl of mist. "Sensei!" Sakura cried, rushing to Kakashi's side. "I'm alright," the Jonin managed, voice strained. "Just overused the Sharingan. Need rest." As Naruto helped Sasuke support their teacher's weight, his mind raced with implications. Zabuza was alive, would return, likely with the fake hunter Nin as an ally. Team 7 had perhaps a week before their enemies regrouped. "Tazuna's house isn't far," the bridge builder said, voice shaky with lingering fear and newfound respect. "Your sensei can recover there." Naruto nodded, scanning the misty surroundings with heightened vigilance. Their first true battle as Team 7 had been a qualified success. They'd survived, protected their client, and even managed to work together effectively under extreme pressure. But the real test was yet to come. The week that followed transformed Team 7 in ways a year of D-rank missions never could. With Kakashi bedridden, they established guard rotations, trained relentlessly during daylight hours, and prepared for the inevitable rematch with enemies far beyond their official skill level. Naruto walked a precarious balance, showcasing enough skill to contribute meaningfully without revealing abilities that would trigger suspicions. He focused on shadow clone techniques and basic combat enhancements that could be explained by intensive training, reserving his more exotic abilities for true emergencies. The turning point came during a forest training session, 3 days after the Zabuza encounter. While practicing tree-walking exercises, Kakashi's prescribed chakra control training, Naruto sensed a presence nearby. Not threatening, but watchful. The fake hunter Nin, Kurama identified immediately. "Observing you. Alone. Should I confront them?" Naruto asked silently, continuing his exercise without visible reaction. "Yes. This could yield valuable intelligence. But be cautious, there's something unusual about this one's chakra. Not hostile, exactly, but complex." Naruto waited until Sasuke and Sakura had returned to Tazuna's house before casually wandering deeper into the forest, seemingly gathering herbs but actually moving directly toward the concealed observer. "You can come out," he called softly to a dense patch of undergrowth. "I know you're there, and I'm not looking for a fight." A moment of stillness preceded the emergence of a slender figure, not masked now, but beautiful in an androgynous way that momentarily caught Naruto off guard. Long dark hair framed delicate features, brown eyes studying him with wary intelligence. "How did you detect me?" the stranger asked, voice confirming Naruto's suspicion that this was indeed Zabuza's accomplice. "Most Jonin wouldn't have sensed my presence." Naruto shrugged, maintaining a deliberate aura of casual friendliness. "I've always been good at sensing people." "Are you gathering herbs for medicine?" "For Zabuza's wounds, maybe?" The stranger stiffened almost imperceptibly, then relaxed with a small, sad smile. "You're perceptive." "Yes, I am Haku." "And you are the orange-clad ninja who helped free your sensei from Zabuza-san's water prison." "Naruto Uzumaki," he confirmed, sitting cross-legged on the forest floor, a deliberately vulnerable position to signal peaceful intentions. "Why are you helping someone like Zabuza? You don't seem like an assassin." Haku's expression softened with unexpected emotion. "Zabuza-san gave me purpose when I had none. A reason to live when the world had discarded me." His fingers traced the edge of his herb basket, When you have someone precious to protect, you can become truly strong. Don't you have someone like that? Someone you would do anything for? The question resonated deep within Naruto, echoing through the chambers of his mind where Kurama resided. Did he have precious people? Once, the answer would have been only Kurama. Now, the faces of Iruka, Sasuke, Sakura, and even Kakashi flickered through his thoughts. I'm starting to, he admitted honestly. I think I understand what you mean. But he frowned, studying Haku's gentle features. Working for someone like Gato? Helping him oppress an entire country? That can't be what you really want. Something flickered in Haku's eyes. Doubt, perhaps, or regret quickly suppressed. We all make compromises to survive. Zabuza-san and we have our reasons. There are always other paths, Naruto said quietly. Other ways to find purpose. Haku rose gracefully, gathering his basket. Perhaps in your world, Naruto Uzumaki. Not in mine. He turned to leave, then paused. You have something special within you, something beyond the power I sense lurking beneath your surface. I hope it serves you better than my gifts have served me. The words sent a chill down Naruto's spine. Had Haku sensed Kurama somehow? He's a sensor type, Kurama confirmed. And something more, I sense bloodline abilities, powerful ones. He recognizes you as a kindred spirit, someone carrying a power they didn't choose. We don't have to be enemies, Naruto called after Haku's retreating form. When we meet again on the battlefield, and we will remember that there are alternatives to death. Haku paused but didn't turn. I in another life, Naruto Uzumaki, we might have been friends. Then he was gone, melting into the forest like morning mist under sunlight. That one has known pain similar to yours, Kurama observed, his normally gruff voice unusually contemplative. The bond between him and Zabuza mirrors ours in some ways, the outcast finding connection with what others fear. But our path is different. Naruto thought with firm conviction. We're building something, not destroying. Protecting, not threatening. Indeed. And that makes all the difference. The encounter lingered in Naruto's mind as he returned to Tezuna's house, where Kakashi had finally regained enough strength to sit upright, his ever-present orange book in hand despite Tsunami's motherly disapproval. Naruto, the Jonin called, visible eye sharper than his casual tone suggested. Join me for a moment. The genin complied, settling beside his teacher's futon with carefully concealed wariness. Your performance against Zabuza was noteworthy, Kakashi began, studying Naruto with unsettling intensity. The strategy with the transformed shuriken showed tactical thinking well beyond academy level. Naruto rubbed the back of his head, a practiced gesture of modesty. It just came to me in the moment. Sasuke deserves most of the credit for executing it perfectly. Kakashi's hum carried volumes of skepticism. You've been full of surprises lately. First the bell test coordination, then identifying the demon brothers, now battlefield tactics against an A-rank missing Nin. He leaned forward slightly. Makes me wonder what else you've been hiding. The question hung between them, deceptively casual yet loaded with implication. Naruto met his sensei's gaze steadily, recognizing the critical juncture they'd reached. Denied too vehemently, and he'd only fuel suspicion. Revealed too much, and he risked exposing secrets he and Kurama weren't ready to share. I've always been underestimated, he finally replied, allowing a hint of his true self to surface. It was easier to let people see what they expected, the class clown, the troublemaker. But that doesn't mean I wasn't paying attention, learning, preparing for the day I could prove myself. It wasn't the whole truth, but it contained enough authenticity to ring true and to satisfy Kakashi for now. The Jonin studied him a moment longer, then nodded. Just remember, Naruto, a team functions best when there are no secrets between its members. Whatever skills or knowledge you possess could mean the difference between mission success and failure. Between life and death. I understand, Sensei, Naruto replied solemnly. And I promise, when it matters most, I won't hold back. As he left Kakashi's room, Naruto felt the weight of accelerating events pressing down upon him. The final confrontation with Zabuza and Haku approached inexorably. Beyond that lay missions of increasing difficulty, the Chunin exams, and challenges yet unimagined. His carefully constructed persona was cracking under the pressure of real combat, and the observant eyes of his team. Soon, he would need to reveal more of his true abilities, not everything, perhaps, but enough to function effectively as a shinobi of the hidden leaf. The time for hiding in plain sight is coming to an end, Kurama observed as Naruto gazed out at the misty waters surrounding Wave Country. Are you prepared for what comes next? Naruto's fingers traced the spiral emblem on his sleeve, the symbol of his heritage, his bloodline, his connection to a legacy larger than himself. Yes, he whispered, resolution hardening within him like steel folded in fire. It's time to start showing the world who Naruto Uzumaki really is. In the distance, the unfinished bridge stretched toward the mainland, a symbol of hope for a nation trapped in poverty and fear. Like that bridge, Naruto stood at the threshold between what he had been and what he would become. The foundations were laid. The structure was taking shape, and soon, the crossing would be complete.